The dawn of justice is upon us. You want top to bottom Batman v Superman? We got it for you right now.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's DC Movie News.
My side is right.
My head! It hurts!
Almost a year and a half ago when we started the DC Movie News Show, we knew eventually we would get the Trinity on the big screen for the first time ever. It's finally happened. We made it to this date, and how polarizing is this film? We're about to talk about it right now. We see you in chat rolls. Some of you love it. Some of you hate it. Some of you are just mad. Some of you are trolling. We're going to get right up in that ass right now on the DC Movie News Show.
Everybody, start telling everybody else to watch it live. I want everybody that's seen the movie to join us in live. I would love to get more live viewers than we've had. Roxy doesn't think we can do it because she thinks people have not.
Spoiler filled. We've all seen the film. We're talking about it. Let's get.
You're helping me prove Roxy wrong. We just went from 58 to 222 with a quick refresh. Come on, we're gonna have gonna get 500 in the room.
Spoilers are my favorite.
Let's do it. We are at DC
unless you want to talk about
Movies.
Daredevil.
Yeah, don't want to talk about Daredevil because she doesn't want spoilers.
At DC Movies SK, Facebook.com/DC Movies SK. Make sure you retweet us. We want as many people watching this as possible. If you're listening, thank you very much. I am at Jay Quasto on the Twitter. That man right there, you know him, you love him. He's wearing the False God t-shirt. He's the host of Man vs. Child on the FYI network as well as FX Movie Download on FX. Find him on Twitter at Adam Gertler. He's Adam Gertler.
Hello, thank you. So great to be here. I can't believe that we made it this far, guys.
That's crazy.
And I can't wait to talk about this movie, man. I got to tell you, what a ride it's been from Monday to Friday. Has been an emotional roller coaster.
And I love it that you guys saw it twice because you have a very unique way of looking at it. We're going to get right to it. First off, this man right here, not only does he have 15 million different Batman cowls, he's an incredibly talented actor, and at DC Encyclopedia, also the host of Character Corner right here on Popcorn Talk. Find him on Twitter at Mike Kalinowski. He's
Welcome.
Mike Kalinowski.
I've been waiting for this, and I brought a special treat that I brought because I had to. Because I especially, you know it's me on the show.
Oh no, I feel like this is
brand new, just made for me.
Oh wow!
Mikey Christmas, new leather jacket.
It's a squeaky leather jacket, everybody.
Maybe
Brand
not
new.
squeaky. We don't know about
No, it's not this one. I don't think it'll be squeaky.
It's like this is like the equivalent of like a
Get it
ratings grab when they altered Kit on Knight Rider.
Yeah. This
you
is
know,
like
they give him some new powers.
I gotta tell you, I'm
yeah.
a little disappointed though because after his introduction, I thought you were gonna pull out the bat suit.
That's coming.
It's real.
Settle down.
It's a real
This is
jacket.
more like Bruce Wayne sportswear.
It's a real jacket. And that right there is the crown jewel of the DC Movie News Show and the host of TV Fights on Screen Junkies. You can find her on Twitter at Roxy Striar. That's because her name's Roxy Striar.
Hi guys, I can't believe we made it. I'm so happy. I just want to hug everybody.
Every sexy photo you've seen of Roxy Striar online has been photoshopped.
I told everybody I bought that new app. I'm
false
obsessed
God.
with it.
What app?
False Roxy. It's called Facetune. I get rid of all my pores and
boy.
shit, you
Oh,
know.
boy.
So
Roxy, you're
but
gonna be-
I look prettier than I am.
Okay.
You're gonna be one of those girls. You're gonna become a meme where it's just like this is the
False
reason that you
gods.
take a girl swimming on the first date. One of those things where it's all the makeup and it gets washed off and.
I think that was really mean.
When you say take a girl swimming on a first date,
You
is
haven't
that a
seen these memes?
euphemism
You haven't
for?
seen these memes that are hysterical.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm one of them.
You're just saying that you're completely changing the way you look through.
Let's get to BBS. Bully.
No, he's trying to pay you a compliment. That's what he's trying to do.
No,
Yeah, he's saying
Johnny.
you don't need to fix it.
I
You don't
think
need to
Roxy
fix.
looks gorgeous,
You
and
don't-
what she's sitting there
yeah.
fixing, I don't like.
You don't need to tune your face.
Here's to swimming with bat-faced women.
All right, there we go. Let's get started, guys. So we're going to try to structure this as much as possible. We've all seen the movie. I saw it at midnight. You saw it just before midnight, so we had late evenings. You both saw it on Monday, and then you saw it again for the second time last night.
Yes.
So here's what we're going to do.
When did you see it the second time last
I saw it last night at 9:15 at the Grove.
And then he went out drinking.
Sure did. I had to discuss.
There you
I
go.
had to discuss, debate, and
So overall, let's do general thoughts, general
Getting into
feelings.
it, guys.
We're
Here it
gonna
is.
rate it at the end. We're gonna do our own little rating system. But
Okay.
we want from you though. Let us know what items should we rate it out of? Like something out of 10.
we're thinking,
what?
because like what does
like,
like
could it
boxes
be 1
of
out of 10
popcorn-
mother boxes, 1 out of 10
Batarangs.
kryptonite rings, batarangs. So come up with our no,
No,
Or-
no,
okay,
no.
Yeah.
Fans
Some kind
use
of
that.
Disney inspired, yeah.
Because we've got all our movies now. This is going to be our rating
So
system.
forever, yeah.
1 out of 10 USB ports that have the rest of the Justice League inside of them. No, that wasn't
There
a
you
good
go.
suggestion.
Something JL related. Anyway, let's start
God,
off.
Roxy's off to a start.
Adam Gertler, you go first.
What am I saying?
You saw it twice. What are your overall feelings?
Okay, I will say overall, general, my response, and I'll give you a good prelude here. I first one, later night, 10 o'clock show, 3 years of anticipation going into it. Had a couple of cocktails before, feeling good. Saw the movie, I didn't know how I felt about it afterwards. I walked out and I was like, that wasn't fun. It was dark, doesn't have to be dour, were my initial thoughts. People on Twitter were trying to like asked me if I loved it or hated it. I didn't know. And then I thought, like, other movies, like, you know, like Deadpool or Winter Soldier, like, I know I love them when I walk out of them. And then I thought, oh, is it too much to think, like, oh, this is a more challenging movie that takes more? Like, no, it's a Superman movie. It shouldn't be challenging. And I don't know. It was big. It was close. I went and saw it again last night. Had a couple days to digest it after hearing that a lot of people kind of agreed with my initial thoughts. And I went again. Didn't have any cocktails before. Just had some Flaming Hot Cheetos. And went with my best buddy. They were laced with THC, by the way.
Good.
And then we went with my best buddy, Mike D. We sat much farther back in the IMAX. Same theater, by the way. AMC Burbank 16. And the parts that I had problems with didn't bother me as much the second time. And the parts that I liked the first time, I loved this time. And I was thoroughly entertained and engaged. And the audience was all cheering at the right moments, at big moments. I'm still mad that a lot of stuff was like stolen from experiencing it the first time through all the trailers and the advertising and stuff.
Yeah.
I really do. I really do think that was a stumble. Like, you could have advertised this movie without ever showing Doomsday, because one thing that people loved is when Doomsday evolves. And we already saw a picture of the semi-evolved Doomsday early, so we were even cheated of that, and people were saying, oh, he'll evolve more, but like, whatever. It was still a great moment. So, yeah, and there was some stuff that I forgave, and there was just a lot more I was able to absorb the second time, and I realized that this is not a Batman that exists in a world where he is the most fantastical element. This is a Batman that exists in a world where, among gods, he's kind of the least fantastical. Like, he's the everyman, and it's different. This is the first time we've seen Bruce Wayne in a world with Superman and metahumans.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, I thought what I really liked this time, like, this is really reminding me a lot of the Justice League animated show. It's like, it's that fantastical, but it's live. And
that's what a lot of people said a week ago when the first reviews were coming out.
I started noticing
like
mother
cartoon.
Boxes that I didn't see the first time, and then and real references to Darkseid, and I'm like, wow, this is happening, and like, I know that's going to also drive people crazy that like have no idea about this world, but like, kudos to them for shooting for the moon and saying, nope, we're doing it. This might not be a thing where like 6 movies into the DCEU, you'll come back to Batman v Superman and be like, oh yeah, well that was the first of the glimpse of this and that, and with some of it, I mean, like, all I'm saying is I'm of two minds. I'm not trying to, drink any Kool-Aid. I'm not a fanboy that wants to appreciate something that I don't love. I felt the first time it wasn't fun. The second time I had nothing but fun.
Okay.
Well said.
Well said.
Roxy.
So I saw this movie last night. It was unfortunate that when I was at work, I realized I don't need to buy, or all throughout the week, I don't need to buy a ticket in advance to this movie. This movie is not sold out anywhere. There are seats
In LA,
available.
because there's so many showings.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, well, that's where I live. So
Right.
I wasn't going to travel.
In Long
somewhere.
Island, my
Star
parents
Wars
couldn't
was
go
not sold out
tomorrow.
either at the Grove when I went to see it opening night.
So
Star Wars was not sold out
Okay.
either.
I looked online. There were tickets for days. So I was like, okay, whenever I get off work, I'm just going to stroll into the theater by myself. And that's exactly what I did. I went. I got a good seat. I saw it by myself. I saw it with a...
Where did you go?
I saw it at the Grove.
Okay. Same theater? Oh, they have a bunch
Different
of theaters
theater.
there, yeah.
Usually I find the Grove to be a very lively place. It was not lively last night. I think my audience was super lame. People got up a bajillion times throughout the movie. People were leaving halfway through. There was no noise, no laughter, no cheering, nothing. I, on the other hand, had a very good time.
You did?
I was a solo voice in a theater of silence.
Really?
I was giggling.
By the way, none of us knew what Roxy thought before,
Yeah.
so this is the first time hearing of it. Okay.
I was giggling at parts that I don't know if they wanted me to giggle, though.
Sure.
I really, really enjoyed this movie, even though I think it has a lot of flaws and things that really, really bothered me. What I loved. What I didn't love made no sense, and I can't believe got
I'll
past
change your mind
them.
on that. Don't worry.
I don't think so.
I believe so.
But I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Honestly, some parts I looked at and I was like, how did this happen? Like, how did we make it this far with this still existing? I walked out The first thing that happened is somebody asked, "What did you think?" And I was like, similar to you. I gotta see it again. I gotta see it again. I don't like that answer. I don't like feeling like I have to see something to know how I feel.
But if you see a Terrence Malick film, it's very common to come out with that kind of response.
But really different. I'm seeing BVS, which I should be able to walk out and say, whoa! So I think I didn't enjoy it as much as I originally thought I would, but I did still really enjoy it. I think a 30 on Rotten Tomatoes is wildly unfair. And again, the parts I loved.
There you go, Mike Kalinowski.
My turn. I saw it Monday night, Mann's Chinese Theater, line out the door with, I met fans of the show. They came up to me, recognized me, we took pictures. Lincoln, if you're out there, buddy, it was great meeting you.
What's up, fans?
You guys are fantastic. I saw it with a guy who is a comic book movie fan. He does not read comics. He is a drink the Marvel Kool-Aid. He's the kind of guy that thinks Deadpool is a great Marvel film. And I try to explain the whole, it's Fox, it's not. He's like, no, it's Marvel character.
Because I was going to say, it is a great Marvel film.
But it's not. It's a Fox film.
But it's the most Marvel film that Fox has made up to now.
Right, but it's not made by Marvel Studios.
So he was confused on the fact of it.
So he's not the best judge of that.
Fair enough. I get
My theater went nuts at the right parts. For me, I mean, God, that one scene, the guy's in the car, and he looks, and there's the Batmobile headlights, and he just revs that engine, and I go ballistic.
Yeah, it comes out,
with that. The right moments, the Wonder Woman reveal. The Wonder Woman, you guys, suck it, everybody that hated on her. You hated on Michael Keaton, you hated on Heath Ledger, and now everyone, Gal's the best thing in the world, because she is, and you should have had faith from the beginning. She owned this fucking movie.
Yep.
She owned the character. She is our Wonder Woman, just like Heath is Joker. Michael Keaton nailed it as Batman, and people should have faith, because now the tune has turned that everyone loves her. And we were fans from the beginning of her. My audience was on board the whole film, cheering, tears at certain points.
Weird how, isn't it weird, a collective audience, isn't it a fascinating thing? Like, you see it all the time in comedy, right?
But then
like
let
the
me
same
say this.
material.
I never know.
I went to the Grove last night, and I saw The Force Awakens in the Grove. I got The Force Awakens got the same reaction that Batman Superman. No clapping, no cheering. I do not like seeing movies at the Grove. To me, it is a typical LA. We like to go. It's upscale, this and that. I like going to an AMC in the middle of the city and enjoying a movie.
Yeah.
My first experience was much better. First time, there were a lot of problems that I had. Stuff that bothered me. Second time, they did not bother me as much.
Oh, similar.
Yeah, and we'll talk. But I still loved it the first time. Second time, my big thing, which we'll talk about later, I'll just say right now, Lex was a huge thing on Monday night where I just like, ooh, I didn't like him.
We were both like that.
But now this time I saw it with a different light, and I was with a guy who is a fantastic actor and a great writer. And because I wanted to get his opinion on the writing, because I'm not a good judge of what the mechanics of a writer and what they do. And he did, and I was just like, oh. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into it more in the depth. But
you Lex flip-flopped?
I'm still not 100% sold.
To piggyback off that before you finish, people they want to criticize Jesse Eisenberg. You're more entitled
up
to
to
do
400
that.
guys. Come on, 100 more listeners. 100 more. Get in there.
He's not Lex Luthor. He's Lex Luthor's kid, and we all know kids of rich people, especially someone as megalomaniacal as Lex Luthor. They're often aloof. They're socially awkward.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
living in his dad.
They think they're better than other people, and they just want. It's all about them. So in essence,
very big generalization.
Big generalization, but no, Jesse Eisenberg. That's the role
he's saying in the worst case.
Yeah, that's the role he delivered. Like when he was, borderline like all over the place at the soiree he had. So I mean, yeah, he was annoying, but at the same time, I think he owned the character. Go ahead.
We'll talk more. I got so much more to say.
We're gonna get into the characters.
Yeah, but
okay, so that was
just on board.
All
All right, Johnny, let's hear from you.
Johnny.
I'm going to keep it simple because I saw it once. I had to drive 2 hours in traffic, do a comedy show, and then I had to stay in Orange County to see a midnight showing. My theater was very tired.
We were supposed to see it together, but he stayed in La Brea to go get drinks instead of seeing it with me, just so everybody knows.
You didn't tell me you were going to see it.
He has to network with comedians. It's part of his job.
All week, Roxy goes, I don't know if I can see it. I have no idea.
I didn't say I didn't know if I could see it. I knew I was going to see it.
But you didn't tell me when. You were like, I might have to work till 2 a.m. So I was like, well, whatever.
Okay.
Kids.
Anyways. So I went to see it. I got the very last ticket available at the midnight showing.
Oh, that's good.
I sat in the very, very back. Like I said, the theater wasn't very lively, but I did see it at midnight after a long day, and it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to digest. So I will do my initial reaction after seeing it one time in 10 seconds. This is honestly what I really thought. After seeing it, I go, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much my overall thought process.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's a lot to digest in like that
need to see it
midnight
again.
setting, late night kind of thing, because it's not as...
I was on board. I
missed a lot.
I had a 10 o'clock screening, and I was just like,
It might have been because of my 11:30 screening, but I hate when I do this, and I checked my phone maybe 6 times to see the time.
During the movie?
Yeah, during the movie.
Not once.
What
I will
time
say
is it?
I
What
had
time
after
is it?
seeing it twice. I will say I personally have no problem with the runtime or the pacing of the movie. Like I'm on board.
I'll say this.
Like
I always get a huge popcorn and a huge soda. Didn't get to go to the bathroom once.
Yeah.
And my first screening. my first
You
time.
can't get up to go to the bathroom during the movie.
What if I have to take a leak? I'm not gonna pee my pants.
I saw it
I
twice
sat
with no
there
bathroom
with my
breaks.
hands
No, because then I don't
squeezing
enjoy
my
the movie.
vagina.
But like, if
I had
that
to
took
pee.
me, I was like,
okay.
It squeezed the pee out.
it takes me out of the movie. If I'm like, oh, I gotta pee, gotta unloose the belt a little bit. I'm not
You're gonna
concentrating.
miss part of the movie?
But no, I didn't think about it. I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, no, I'm in it.
Only
What
$3.99,
next?
guys. We just lost somebody watching because we're talking too much about going to the bathroom.
We're over
Come on,
400. We're over 400.
We're over 4 now. Okay. Oh,
do it.
down.
Let's get into it. Let's get
What's
down
the
to
next
brass
round? What's the
tacks.
next
Here's the
round?
deal. I'm excited to see it for a second time because I know I missed a lot of things. I'm sure
Okay.
there's Easter eggs galore that I have no idea that
Yes.
I
I
even
got
witnessed.
them for you.
Don't worry, I got
Well,
them.
there we go. So overall, we're just going to do a kind of a general structure here. Let's start off with how do we enjoy the start of the film, and then let's get into the performances, who our favorites were. I think we already kind of figured that part out.
Okay.
Not the start of the film, but the start of our slate.
Right, the start of the slate besides
Yeah.
Man of Steel. I think it set things up quite well, and they took a lot of risks.
Yeah.
The people who walked out of this and are like, I'm now not going to see any of the DC movies, I don't understand. This to me opened up a lot of doors. It didn't close a lot of doors. It made me excited to see the rest because I think we have left ourselves in a good spot to go interesting places.
And
So I guess Man of Steel is the start of our slate. I look at this as more of a start, and it's I think that it is a good beginning for us.
But also, if you didn't like this movie, Wonder Woman, this movie should not affect Wonder Woman because it's set 100 years ago.
Well, I suppose if you didn't like Wonder Woman,
The character.
Yeah.
She's
But-
speaking tonally in terms of like the films. Like if you weren't excited seeing one of these Justice League films, you're going to be less excited to see a Wonder Woman movie.
Right.
But you shouldn't. The things that the pacing, the way they went with it, Suicide Squad. It's not going to affect those films. Like where you start with the Marvel, it's all going to be building these DC.
No,
are
I know,
kind of
but you think
branching.
that people will think that though. I know that, and you know that.
no,
but
I know people are thinking that.
Right, that's what I think. What
Okay,
Roxy's
all
saying
right,
is, as
okay.
according to a general, person that's not happy with it, it doesn't. Okay, and this was one of my bigger problems with walking out with money. I'm like, if their job is not just to introduce the Justice League stuff, but to get people excited about wanting to see it, then did they do that
Right.
as spectacularly well as they could have?
They did
and that
for
was
me.
okay.
Because
Well,
a lot
Yeah,
of
but you
people
were already excited.
I was,
in all fairness.
But okay,
a
go
lot
on.
of people, they always want to see a happy ending, and let's be honest, this certainly was not a happy ending. But to
Love
me,
the ending, by the way. Love that they did that.
I love
Love
when,
that they did that.
Yeah, I love when films don't have happy endings. It's
They
almost
killed
like,
Superman, by the way, guys. Just so you know, this at some point it stopped being just all Dark Knight Returns, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, that movie that we never did with like Kevin Smith, Tim Burton, and all that. We're gonna do a little
Death
Death of
of
Superman.
Superman.
Here you go, Jurgens."
everyone loves a cliffhanger, and that's what this movie left us on, and we
And when I
want to
s-
see what happens.
And when I said Jurgens, I was referring
Dan
to Dan
Jurgens.
Jurgens,
I
and not the
gotcha.
Jurgens lotion you're gonna have by your bed
I
because you
need
get
that.
to
I
watch
gotta
the
be tan a little bit.
to keep your skin smooth.
Yeah,
and-
I got
Zod
the
could use some
Jergens.
Jergens for sure.
Good.
Anyway.
I was taken back there. That coffin with the S on it.
I will say that we'll get more into it, but my theater was incredibly confused by that.
This,
they did
like-
not know what was going on in that moment.
This is
They shot for the moon.
Everything is saying this is a movie for the fans made by a fan.
Yeah.
It is. My guy that I saw it with again, who's not a comic book fan, he was upset because there wasn't a post-credit spoiler.
Oh,
Wait,
Jesus.
I will.
I was
And
very
he-
glad there was
and
not.
he goes-
Pause on this again because in the chat they were sad. This is a spoiler review. It is not a spoiler-free
We've
review.
talked this
we
all the
are,
time,
we
guys.
are giving
Spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah, no,
it's in our
this is
title. It's what
what
we're
we've been
doing.
saying.
What he just gave was not a spoiler. That's what happened. We're talking about the movie that
we've
we
been
saw.
saying it all week. We've seen the movie. We're talking about the movie. I don't know how
Yes.
you missed that. So there you go.
This is not my big fat
appreciate you guys-
wedding review.
We
show
appreciate
that
you
is
guys
one dial
being
down.
here. Please, thank you for being here, guys.
but I don't want you here if you haven't seen the movie because we'll ruin
Yeah.
it for you.
If you're watching and you haven't seen the movie yet, stop. Go see the movie.
But did I just spoil the fact that Superman dies?
Yes,
I think
yes,
we
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But
Oops.
you did it, and then all of a sudden it was like, we hate you, Roxy. Like, I didn't do that. Adam did that, but I
Because
would have
Roxy
done
loves
it.
spoilers.
But I didn't mean to.
He
Baby
just,
doll.
he just
From
keeps
the
saying
animated
it.
series. I got it.
All right, continue. Sorry.
I think again, this is if you follow these characters and you know these characters,
Yeah.
you're excited for what's coming. Yes, that alienates.
Yeah,
some
so do you think the
people,
way they
but-
introduced it, and do you think that, here's another criticism, is that the way it was done is through this like hard drive subplot, and then like it comes up on this hard drive, which I love that like Wonder Woman couldn't decrypt it, and she has to give it to Bruce Wayne to military grade encryption. You forget about it, it comes back.
He knows
which,
it.
This whole thing bothered me like hell the first time, and then it comes up, and then there's all the logos for your favorite Justice League characters.
Yeah.
Like people at LexCorp are like, oh, I think this will be. We'll call him Aquaman, and we'll do this.
No, I'll say this.
Just-
I'll say this. People had a problem with that. And in the comics, Bruce Wayne, he's got in his secret lair in the bottom of the Batcave, he's got a vault, and they have cases with individual contingencies to deal with every member of the Justice League. And he's got logos on all of them. He's got the C for Cyborg. When does Cyborg have a logo? But Bruce Wayne does. It's a comic thing.
This
it's
was-
a comic world. It's the comics.
For me,
Okay,
It's make-believe.
Roxy, I know where
okay,
you're gonna go
it's a
here.
comic.
No, I don't think you do.
Okay.
I don't think you do because
Okay.
I've heard that everybody, this is the biggest thing they hate on in the movie.
Uh-huh.
I loved it.
See?
I loved this part.
What,
I
the
loved that.
the
I
emails?
love that we saw with the cyborg
Oh,
and with
fantastic.
Gus,
Click
with-
here for
with
more.
Aquaman.
Fantastic.
Click here for more. I was like, this is the least subtle thing I've ever seen in
Yeah.
my entire life.
Yeah.
But I love it. Look at this. But we are literally watching mini trailers for these other films, and I was like, I'm all in. Everybody else I know hated it.
But let me say
I don't
this.
care. I thought it was freaking fantastic.
It shows Lex Luthor how devious he is. He's had
Yeah.
files on these. He is the
He's
equivalent.
watching them. It's creepy.
He's the
got
equivalent of
video.
Bruce Wayne having things ready to go. This is something Bruce Wayne does
I
to track
loved it.
people.
And that's what I mean. This is the
I gotta
Bruce
say this.
Wayne. Okay, go.
The
Lex
Aquaman
Luthor,
thing was
Lex
great.
Luthor is ahead of Bruce Wayne, smart-wise.
Yeah.
He's got this. Bruce
But-
Wayne's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Lex is like, I had it all done.
Yeah.
He's the smartest
But it
motherfucker
also,
in the world.
Wonder Woman's also learning about these people because that's at this point I'm like, does she know?
No.
Is she aware of any of this? And then we see her face while
So-
she's watching. I'm like, cool.
The cyborg thing was a little wacky.
Okay, here's the thing about the
Are
cyborg
we going,
thing.
are we going in order?
King Famous
We're-
wants us to bring
we're-
this up
we're
right
skipping
now.
ahead. Are
No,
we
yeah,
going?
we are skipping ahead a little
What?
bit.
Are we?
We're still
part
talking
of it?
general right now. This is later on in the
Okay,
story.
okay,
This is
sorry.
the
So we're just
story.
talking broad strokes, introduction
Yeah.
of
Broad
Justice League.
strokes, yes.
So,
Right.
so again, to talk to my two viewings, first time I was like, all the Justice League stuff was stupid. It was shoehorned in. It had nothing to do with this movie. Second time in, I was like, I'm in the universe of the Justice League that is born out of the Justice League animated series.
Just
and this
excited to
Batman,
be there.
and Batman is like the one who's like, he's being the detective. He's gonna. It's like. Just again, this is like, and then I just loved it. And also, I know we're going to talk about the mother box, but I didn't even see the mother box the first time.
Oh, I did.
And I
Mother
did.
box.
And seeing that the second time, it was just like another thing that helped tie it together. So, okay, back up.
There you go.
Johnny, bring us on track.
All right, back. So we already talked about performances, our favorites, stuff like that. As far as
Did we talk about performances? Our favorites?
No, we did not.
Let's go.
Performances.
I think we all agreed Gal was amazing.
Yep, absolutely. I will
woman's
say,
perspective,
So from
please.
a woman's perspective, you guys know, I was never angry about her casting, but I was
Okay.
a little worried about her size at first. She seemed very, in a great way, large to me. Like she was completely large is the wrong word.
no, I
don't know.
understand.
But she had a
Statuesque.
very
Presence.
big presence.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated her. I think she was sexy too,
Yes.
while
Yeah.
also being
Yes.
somebody like that. I think women can love her. I think men can love her. I think what she represents is so awesome. I think she came in at the right time. I think they used her as a good device. I almost wanted to see a little more of her, but it's not her movie.
Yes.
That's why we have a Wonder Woman movie. So I thought she murdered it.
Okay, on Gal. Okay, this is again seeing it twice.
Gal.
Gal.
Gal
Gal.
Gadot.
Gal
Gal
Gadot.
Gadot.
I'll call her whatever she wants.
I'm the only one who can say it.
She got applause both times in both viewings that I saw. I loved Wonder Woman. I loved everything about as Wonder Woman. I thought some of her dialogue I had a problem with. I think her presence was a little shrinking to me, and speaking some of her lines as Wonder Woman, like the one line, like why did you bring him back into the city? Just that line felt really flat to me twice.
Oh, I love that.
I noticed it the first time. I noticed it the second time. To me, she's like, why did you bring him back to the city? It just didn't have gravitas to me.
Okay.
Not so much the Diana Prince stuff, and then again the action of Wonder Woman I loved a lot. So I think it was just she was getting tripped over her accent a little bit in the worlds of the English. Like there were a couple of lines.
Funny you say that because a couple buddies of mine last night, they loved her as Diana Prince, did not love her as Wonder Woman. And I would ask, I go, okay, think of it from outside one. Was that the stuff that was filmed first? It's green screen stuff too, so a lot of actors are not comfortable with green screen work where they're looking at a tennis ball and this and that. and she's thinking, and now the Diana Prince was much more her and Bruce Wayne. We heard rumors that she screen tested with them, so those scenes, she's probably screen tested.
I don't get it though, because I loved her as Wonder Woman. I thought she was so aggressive. And
when an actress or an actor is skinny or something on screen, you notice it. Never once did you go, ooh, she could have put some weight on.
No. She looked amazing as Wonder Woman.
Cavill was the only one in his one scene. I was like, oh, he looks smaller than normal.
Really?
Oh, I never thought that.
In that
about
one
looking
scene where he's cooking dinner and he looks at the TV.
Oh no, I thought he looked huge.
He looked a little different.
His back muscles were
not
like
compared to Man of Steel.
out.
He's popping out of the water. Man of Steel to get the shirt.
But
anyway,
honestly,
regardless, that's not. I'm not. He's no.
When he walks in, he's like, "I was gonna cook dinner." What do you mean?
Let me get back to Wonder Woman. I don't do female crushes like movie stars and this. I fell in love with her. She had the weight of someone that's been around for hundreds of years. She had this gravitas that she walked around and she owned the role. She held up to Bruce Wayne. She just was statuesque. And my God, when she fucking got knocked on her butt and she looks at Doomsday and she smirks. That is, and my friends did not get that. Like, I don't get that. Like, that's the look of a woman that's been fighting for hundreds of years. And she goes, finally, a challenge. I wanted a.
That said a lot about Wonder Woman's character.
Okay, let's go.
That said a lot about Wonder Woman's character.
When she's got the lasso and she's pulling on it, and she's just like, oh.
Didn't you wish that we got to see the lasso actually go around it?
And I'll say this back to what you said. It was the perfect shot, and Zack Snyder is a visual filmmaker. It's Batman just looking. You see from behind him, and he's looking back and forth, and there's Superman, there's Doomsday, there's Wonder Woman, there's these gods, and he's just like, I'm obsolete.
He's like, I'm Hawkeye.
Can't do this.
I'm Hawkeye right now.
I'm in over my head.
And it's just, you see Wonder Woman just loving battle.
Okay.
And I yes, I'm excited for Wonder Woman, but I was never like, yes, I gotta find more. I have got to see this movie Wonder Woman now.
And that shot of her from 1918
with Steve Trevor, and like a lot of people in the audience. I'm like, Steve Trevor, and they're all like, who? I'm just like, come on, guys.
No, I love that.
That shot was incredible.
You can't, but that's why those are the people that like, I don't get this movie.
So
like,
guys,
but that's for the fans that love this stuff.
I gotta bring this up.
Okay.
This is the most polarizing. I think we're all agreed we liked Affleck. I thought Cavill was great.
We haven't talked about anybody, but...
Well, the most polarizing is Lex Luthor. Everyone's going crazy, better or worse on him.
Okay. So we should definitely we got to talk about the leads, too.
Yeah, because I want to talk about the leads a little bit, because honestly, I was not as impressed with Cavill this time. He was a little... it's frustrating, because I think Ben Affleck did such an amazing job that I almost felt like Cavill was like... lacking in a kind of wimpy way at times. It was weird for me.
He play a beta. And like, even, and I was joking, but like, that scene when he goes home to cook with Lois, it's like he's, I was going to cook.
Like, I walked out of this movie if the question is Batman v Superman, who wins in a fight, it was clearly Batman. And there was no question to me. Superman got his butt handed to him, which we'll talk about the actual fight, but I wanted him to be stronger. I wanted it to be... have more of a presence, and I don't know whether this was because of the script or because of the actor, but I didn't like him as much as I liked him in Man of Steel.
I don't know with him. I don't know if it's the acting or the writing. Because in Man from U.N.C.L.E., he's charming, he's funny.
I just finally saw that, and I actually liked it a lot more.
And I don't know if it's really just this with Superman, the way they're going, and someone made an interesting point.
They actually knew how to write for him in Man from U.N.C.L.E. too, because he's not very rangy.
Yeah, but maybe they said, is this one, now that we know he's dead, and he eventually comes back, is this a chance to do a different take on Superman?
Like different casting. I actually
no,
thought of that.
Not different casting, but giving him a chance to lighten up and to be a more
It's going to be great
Superman.
to see how he comes back. That's why I think it was such a great scene.
It's a weird, and everyone was worried about Gal, but his was the one performance of the three where I'm kind of like...
Same.
And I watched Man of Steel the night before. I watched the full, and what a fantastic film that is.
And I think he did a great job in that film, too.
Yes. But it's the same continuation, where he's the Superman in that movie of all mortals, and there's no one that larger-than-life characters. Now you've got him with larger-than-life characters. He's kind of like the
Johnny,
Hawkeye
what was your take on Cavill?
Like I said, I liked Cavill. I really have no complaints. I had my reservations about it going in, but after seeing him in BVS, I was completely fine with Cavill's performance.
Why did you have reservations going in? Because of Man of Steel?
A little bit about Man of Steel. I just didn't know. I felt like he was a little... And like I said, this could go back to the writing. They could be writing Superman to be kind of bland, but then again, he's never been Mr. Personality to begin with. But so again, Cavill's doing what he can with what he's given, I think.
That Jurgens run, like, I love Superman of that era. Like, I think they really nailed it in around that Death of Superman era. Like, I knew who he was.
Superman works when he's the leader of the Justice League because he's in control and he's an adult.
Yeah.
This was a different take. This was the young Superman versus the elder Batman.
So still a couple of weeks into his career, here's another scene that I really had a problem with the first time that I kind of changed on the second one, but I still have a problem with it. When he's in the courthouse.
Okay.
Lex. We clearly vilify Lex. Scoot McNairy's
lightning
wheelchair
rod,
bomb.
what they said, lightning rod, which we'll talk about it, but that surprised that.
So the first
hell
time
out
it
of
was
me.
like, it surprised me in a bad way. I'm like, that's too dark. I'm just saying what I felt the first time.
We're just talking characters right now, though.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
don't get...
but the way he reacted there after everyone died, in Man of Steel, I loved how he responded after Zod killed him. Like that crying, that screaming face, like that is amazing after he kills Zod. After his reaction after the explosion there, which was horrible, he was just like, ugh.
And I'll defend this. Watching Man of Steel again, I wrote this down. Pa Kent says to him, make a choice to stand in front of the human race or not. And he made a choice to stand in front of the human race, and look what happened. They all...
And that's what you got from that facial expression?
No, but that's him making... That could be an acting choice.
And that's my problem.
Okay, but that's the reason that he's
and
there.
here's the other thing. I don't know if we can do it, but right there, I think, like, again, this is a character choice.
Right, we're not saying plot.
Okay. All right.
Character.
I have a lot to say about that
I know.
part. Okay.
We'll get to it. But
okay, so overall,
the big three was Ben Affleck, who we haven't spoken that much about.
Okay. So we finally got to see the Batman.
Right. Starting with you, Johnny, how did you feel about Ben Affleck's performance?
Going into it, I had full confidence in Ben Affleck, and he absolutely delivered, I thought, from start to finish. There was so much, there was a lot of range, there was so much, you said gravitas to it. Oh. You saw the bitterness in him. You saw so many years of stuff he dealt with. You saw the pain going back to childhood, and you saw the vindictiveness in how he really wanted to take out Superman.
Brutal.
How do you feel, Mike?
I'm sold, but I was sold the minute he was cast. I was sold. I've loved Affleck. I think he's fantastic. I love the fact that he was drinking and he had a table full of pills he was popping. And he's got a girl next to him.
Girl next to him. You never even see her face.
Yeah, that was great.
He just doesn't care. He's just like
Bruce, you
it's a man of like, well, there's always going to be crime. This is my life. I put him in jail. They come back out. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to keep doing what I do. They're not going to stop me. And now it's like, I don't know what to do now. This is the monologue of this is my life's legacy and this I'm older than my father was. Yeah. Him and Alfred, I want their movie now. I want a solo film.
Yeah,
I gotta see it. The fighting that he getting shot in the head, and I was concerned with the killing.
Well, who'd he kill?
A lot of people.
His Batwing blew the hell up out of those things. He smashed with his car, and I'm not talking the dream sequence. I'm just talking in that main.
That's
scene.
what I'm saying. So there was actual killing because I saw it twice, and like he actually
Zack Snyder
killed
came
people.
out and said he's like, it's not murder, it's manslaughter because he didn't actually shoot them. He shot the car that exploded.
Right.
There is the one scene the guy throws the grenade, he kicks it back, but the guy goes to cover the grenade, so he explodes. So he didn't try to prevent him, but again, he's like, I don't have to,
He also is branding people.
I love that, and the fact that he's like, they say that the bat brain in prison is a death sentence.
Which I don't get.
I love that, meaning that you were
I didn't get that either.
you might have snitched to the bat, you might have this and that to the bat.
Just means you got your ass kicked by the bat. I don't think they would commiserate over that.
No, I mentioned Batman was
unclear.
taking out justice on pedophiles and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what
they said? There was a pedophile. Was the one was caught as
sex trafficking?
Sex trafficking. What it is.
I mean, that comes
sex
after
trafficking.
you're done.
Put it that way, where we're like, so you're saying like Jared Fogle could have gotten like the bat brands?
Yeah.
Oh, he would have. He'd
Johnny,
be
that's
like,
exactly
in
what
like
it
the
is.
shape of a foot long.
well, he actually did get his ass kicked in jail already.
Well, that's why I'm relating that to that
Good call.
bit of news. He would have been branded.
So.
Okay, what about you though?
Oh, okay. So I really thought that it was a lot of a Batman style from a combination of the animated series, and it also really felt like a lot of the Arkham series and Injustice: Gods Among Us, which makes sense because if you think of who you're marketing this film to,
a lot of Injustice.
There's a lot of injustice going on in this film. I mean, some people will take that literally, and other of us will know that figuratively to connote the video games and the comic book series. Very dark takes on the characters. Also, a lot of the plot things even indicate that. But the action itself felt like I mean, up to now, I've been the best Batman I've seen because I'm playing Arkham Knight, and I'm I've got incredible moves and combos and stuff. And Zack Snyder was able to even thank you. He could still do better than me, but I was able to see that live, so I loved the Bat action. It was the best Bat action I've ever seen. And the second time, I liked it more.
How about when he pulled the guy through the wall and he's holding the machine gun? That's Dark Knight. That's Dark. No,
it's Dark Knight. Well, which is also
Knight.
RoboCop, which references RoboCop.
Oh, regardless,
they were around the same time.
In my opinion, regardless of whether you like this movie or not, I don't know how you could walk away from this not respecting Ben Affleck's performance. I think he
kills it.
I
haven't heard too many people crap on his performance yet.
I have seen a few.
Yeah.
But there's people that are going to hate.
But as far as there's a lot that people are destroying on this movie, and would you say that that's one of the things least?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a high point of this movie.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the movie, and we'll talk about Jeremy Irons too, but he was probably my favorite performance the first time.
Yeah.
And I loved that Alfred, man. I loved that Alfred.
Yep.
He's drinking constantly. I don't know, sure, as if there's likely to be another generation of Wayans.
Not for lack of trying.
Yes. You should be so lucky, Alfred. Drains a glass of brown. People are like, and he takes over the drone for him. And he's like, oh, yes, of course.
There we go. I think we're all sold on the score. I mean, come on.
Yes.
100%.
Score's fantastic.
Again, first time I had a real problem with the dour Superman cue. It was like, as opposed to da 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 da, you got dum dum.
Yeah.
Dum dum. And I was like, the first time I was like, really? Do I have to be so sad? Superman's on screen? It bothered me less the second time. That was one of those things where I was like, all right, I get it. It's tying it together. It's this, and the score actually as a whole worked for me better the second time, and I actually loved it the second time. First time, I was really pissed about the sad Superman music. And I heard the Junkie XL more this time too. Within that, it was really them weaving. I didn't feel like it was like Hans here and then Junkie here. It was more like Junkie XL. I feel that laid in a lot of that electronic stuff over Hans's stuff. Do you see it the same way?
I see it very similar. But I really enjoyed the score, and there was two parts that stood out to me like crazy. Number one, when Lex was walking, and it was kind of like going with his steps.
Yeah, it was like a little Mr. Luthor walk. Yeah,
but
I like that.
This sounds so weird, but one of his feet was, his left foot was walking like down at once, and his right foot was going dun. So it was like, and I don't know. I think they just captured it. It was really cool. And then when Wonder Woman comes down at the end, and then,
listen,
like,
I understand people have a problem with this. Like Lex, are we sliding into Lex right now? Is that we going into Lex?
I need to talk to music.
Okay. Because we talked to a couple of actors. Then this is what happens when we try to be organized. Everyone, it's organized chaos.
We're trying.
All right,
talk
go
music.
fast. Love the music. I mean, I listened to it since I got it Thursday night of last week, and I couldn't put it into place where it was in the movie. But now seeing the movie, and I listen to the soundtrack all the time, so now I know when it's in the movie. The opening credits, it's breathtaking. That opening credits. To me, we'll talk about it more in depth. It goes with that. I love his music when he's in the Batmobile chase scene.
Yeah,
my God, that's fantastic.
What about when Batman does the rescue Martha fight? The highlight fight, just like everything about that. Probably the best scene in the film. I mean, probably.
Damn. He's a grind. Like we'll talk about it. I'll talk about it later. We'll get to it later.
All right. The rest of the characters, is that what we want to go through?
I would love. What do you guys think about Jeremy Irons? I mean, I've said enough. I love it.
No
Just
question.
love it.
He was actually in the movie less than I thought he was going to.
I knew he was going to be in less. He had said he's like, I'm not in it that much. I have a couple scenes.
It was perfect for me because he was able to basically
Alfred.
be like the comic relief of the film, and he showed that this Alfred combines what we knew Lucius Fox and Alfred to be doing in the previous incarnation. He does both. He's making grenades. He's
the voice box. He's like,
when he's doing the vocal warm up with the voice box. I love that.
I feel like he was a really, really selfless actor in this, where he just knew that it wasn't about him, and he was just such a great support. And so I loved him. I think that he clearly knew his place, and he did a great job.
He's got the best job in a movie like this. He just comes in. He's just a seasoning. The movie is not being made or broken on Alfred's back, but
now you want to see him. You want to see the movie with him and Bruce.
Yeah, and I've actually read several reviews that were like, "Well, I was perplexed by this film. Give me the Affleck Batman, Jeremy Irons, Alfred movie yesterday." That was
there's some other minor characters if you guys don't want to.
Yeah, let's go for them.
Well, what did you guys think about Lois in this one?
She was a pretty major character. She was in a lot.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
She had one. Go ahead. She did one. I guess we'll talk about it in the story. One character moment where I was just like, is a plot device that happened that
Of course, you're talking about throwing the frickin' thing into the water. I know. She was my least favorite part of this entire movie.
If Batman would have just done it, looked at it, and thrown it, gone in water, she saw that, had to go back and get it, solve. Plot, solve, point, solve.
That
is how did that get that far in editing? Like, why was that not...
That's what I was talking about originally.
It's such an easy fix.
Who said, like, let's
why
clear
did
that?
Bruce see what he did, see the body, throw it away from him. Boom, 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 in the water.
Yeah.
Lois goes, oh...
I agree. There were some plot devicey things that happened all along that scene. I think her character, I actually like her, but it was unfortunate that once again, and again, you could also go that this is ultra traditional, or this could really bother you. Like traditionally, Superman's always saving Lois. That's what happens in the comics. People want to see more independent and more, heroic female characters, not just female characters that are always getting saved. She gets saved 3 times by Superman in this movie.
At least we had her juxtaposed with Wonder Woman, so we do see a strong female.
Yes.
But I had a really hard time with Lois in this. I liked her way more in Man of Steel. I had a problem with both the plot and some of the actresses' choices. And she really was a low point for me.
I mean, thrown off the building, like, it's just, it really begs the question that, like, Superman is preoccupied with everything else, but anything happens to Lois. He really is, like, he came off as almost like her Krypto the Superdog. Like, he's such a lapdog to her.
Look at this in the world that they set up with Superman. This is a different Superman. Like, what if we were Superman and my girlfriend was in trouble? You damn right you'd always be there to save her.
He does say it in that opening scene. He's like, I'm sorry. You're my world.
And I will do everything to protect you.
It's a choice.
I've lost people because I didn't act. I will never lose you.
Yeah. That's right. No, they definitely address it. They definitely address it. You can have a problem with the choice.
I'm with you.
Can't fault,
Roxy, I also felt like, for me, it was a little bit too much Lois. Did we talk about? I know I already gave my opinion on Lex Luthor. I thought if you want a megalomaniacal son of Lex Luthor, I thought he pulled it off. We have people in chat roles saying that he wasn't scary enough, he wasn't frightening enough. What do you guys think?
I think that a lot of people say this is a low point for them. Lex wasn't a low point for me, actually. I really enjoyed his performance, and I'm somebody who you guys know over the past year has been like, frickin' Jesse. Yeah, but did you hear him? He did it later again as he went over, Senator? And I was like, oh my God.
Okay, I'll say this. I did not like him first viewing.
Yeah.
Second viewing, talking to my friend who's a writer, it's interesting. There's almost 2 Lexes in this film. There's the creepy, maniacal guy, but then when he gets to the Kryptonian ship, it shifts and he becomes ticky. Like I think in the deleted scenes, there's got to be more of him in that ship when he says, "Teach me everything." Right. There's got to be that's got to be the fleshed out.
Yeah, I agree, and I also want to hear more about why.
It's Cherry.
I
loved it.
That was
creepy.
Freaking weird.
Okay, but let's talk about how he is smarter than Bruce Wayne because he's maniacal and he manipulated them together and he's got files on everyone. So I love that. So I saw that. I didn't recognize that the first time. The second time I did, I go, oh, he is a chess master playing these pieces.
I gotta say, I have a very similar experience. The first time I was like, what movie is he in? The first time I saw it, I'm like, what movie is this guy in? He's in a totally different movie. Yeah. Second time, again, thinking about, for 3 days how much I hated his performance, totally saw it a different way. Totally saw it like this guy his villainy is on a godly level of the gods he's supposed to be offending. So it's like he blows up that Senate with Mercy Graves in it, by the way. Yeah. The Capitol building. Mercy Graves, who's like his girl, sitting in the chair, like, oh, where's Lex? It's not like she left because she knew that was going to happen. I also the first time thought Scoot McNairy knew he was blowing himself up. He didn't.
No, he was
because he's so out about the fact that he's not a hero. He's like, no, I'm going to give you this chair. You're going to go and you're going to bring Superman down by deriding him as a. Meanwhile, he didn't know he was going in there with a bomb.
Like they said, he's a lightning rod character.
In terms of Lex being in a different movie, though, I agree with that, which I liked. I think he's in his own movie, his own world, his own planet. It's Lex, Alexander. That's what he's living.
But
and
then the end too, when he starts preaching about Darkseid and he's got snot all over his face. Like I went along for the ride the second time.
We could think he's preaching about.
I think he is. Well, somebody's coming. Whatever. Something's coming, and it sounds great. It sounds like it's Darkseid. I love the Cherry Jolly Rancher.
Oh, I loved it.
I loved that the first time though, but the first time that was the only thing I liked.
Okay.
And then I also liked his speech where he just gets meandering, where you think he's playing a character, but you realize
he's just like he can't talk to people.
He just, he's just up there. Oh,
that's why I liked it. He literally, there's something off about him, and that's.
Yeah.
I didn't love, again, the scene with Lois on the rooftop, but again, that is right out of a comic book.
Yeah,
like,
of
you know,
course.
I mean, this is a broad film. And that's the thing, is like all these different comic book properties, like Marvel versus Fox, like everybody's got to find their tonal footing to stand out. And DC is establishing their tonal footing, and it has a large operatic scope. And I think a lot of the first viewing was adjustment. And the second thing, I was like, no, I'm in it.
I see a lot of people in the chat too. The character of Mercy Graves. We are going to do. Or I'm going to do next week, guys. The character corner. We're going to focus on Mercy Graves because she kind of got screwed over in this film. That is a really great character of Mercy Graves. He talks about casting this actress because he loved her in the Wolverine, wanted to work with her. She, to me, seems like she was cut on the cutting room floor. But I will go into that on character corner probably up next week for you guys to find out about
what
this
did
character.
you think? Great plug. What did you think about that part where she goes down like that?
It shows that he doesn't give a... Because Mercy is Lex's bodyguard, his right-hand man, that she's always there. She's smart.
But there's also a lot of status quo shifts that happened at the end of this film.
But the fact that he would blow her up, too. He left her there.
Yeah, I was happy she was in the movie at all, though. I thought that she was a nice little benefit. I wish that there was a little
she's
more,
just walking down the hallway. That whole scene is like...
It's like, you know, there's more to that character... but again, they could have made it, you know, Susie, whatever. So they did make it a character in the universe.
They also had Firefly in there, too.
No, KG Beast.
Oh, KG Beast, right.
But, it was I think she needs to be fleshed out. But again, it's just another peppering that adds to the steak flavor.
Overall, Zack Snyder's storytelling. This is another controversial topic.
Decisive.
Very visual to me. Because people want to say in chat, well, what do you get? What negative stuff are you talking about? We're talking about everything. We're talking about negative things. To me, and like I said, look, I saw it at midnight. I'm no expert. It seemed clunky at times, the storytelling. And granted, I do want to see it for a second time, for sure.
Yeah.
And a third time. But it just seemed a little clunky to me at times. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I agree with that. I think that him having 30 extra minutes in the R-rated version might do a lot for the storytelling. There were so many quick cuts where there was no transitional scenes where I was like, we're here, we're there, we're thrown into things. Zack Snyder isn't my favorite. I know you guys like him more than I do in general. I think he focuses on the wrong things sometimes, and to me, he didn't add to this movie the way that I wanted it to be added to. From the very first opening scene all the way through, yes, it was pretty. It was pretty, but he's not my favorite.
Yeah. You know what? Again, that would be Zack Snyder's, you know, the person probably most responsible for the end product of this film right now. So that's a big thing to talk about. Like, more than any of the performances, anything like that, Zack Snyder is the director. He's the guy that's bringing this story to life. It's his vision.
A lot of people want him out here. Chat roll.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
We'll say this, guys. He's not going. He is filming Justice League in 2.5 weeks. They're not replacing him. They're going. It's his thing. He might not do part 2.
Where did this rumor start that everybody's like, he's getting cut? He's not getting cut from Justice League.
He is not. I mean, that's just even if WB wanted him gone, they would not.
I think they've known for a long time the film that they've had.
Yes,
and we've been hearing rumors about all the reactions. Nothing is surprising me right now with how people are reacting to this film.
Very good point.
Nothing is surprising, but you can't think that if they are course correcting or whatever they're doing. We already heard Chris Terrio saying a couple of weeks ago that, you know, the script was going to be more lighthearted. And even the way that this movie ends with a death, it ends more lighthearted. It's bright. We're in the, you know, and Diana Prince and Bruce Wayne are about to start like their adventure.
Yeah.
You know, we know something's going on in that box. I gotta say, I'm excited to see Zack Snyder take. I know you guys are gonna kill me for this, but I think Goyer had a lot to do with the story and the script. I think Terrio came in after. I think there was a lot of changes that were happening. I think this is why it was such a long, protracted production schedule. I think a lot of this was like, all right, we're getting up, and now I think we're going to start to see even more fluid storytelling in film, starting with Suicide Squad, with Wonder Woman. I think now they had to do a lot at once just to get this product done.
There was a time limit too. They had a deadline.
And you see it all over the film. But if you got to ask me, it's like, I think Zack Snyder is the guy to direct the first Justice League. It's still his vision. It's still his DC universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on board. I think he made a fantastic Batman film that he had to have Superman tag along.
I heard that.
You can tell.
You told me that.
You
before.
can tell that he has that love for Batman because that stuff. And it's interesting to see because we talked about Ben Affleck was doing some rewriting with Terrio on set during it. So in his scenes, like the scene of him where like, again, I bring it up where he's talking like, this is my legacy, what I'm gonna do. Those are great moments. And
there's a comment here. Affleck says in an interview, Terrio was hired before him. He claims in an interview. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if that's true. But listen, okay, to speak about the story, at least script-wise, the opening and closing voiceovers, which were both Ben Affleck, right?
Right. Yep.
I thought those were super out of an incredible comic book.
Speaking
I thought
of that
like
opening-
that writing, okay, but then that was great. I love the closing tag with that and the opening. Like it sounded like I was seeing one of those boxes where I'm seeing like the thoughts of Batman, where it's just not the thought bubble, but the narration. How the Dark Knight will often narrate the story. It felt like it was his narration of that.
Well, while we're talking about scenes specifically, I guess
Okay.
a lot of people.
Are we going into the movie now?
Got to because we don't have that much time. All
right.
A lot of people want to know.
Okay, but just briefly, the costumes and the vehicles looked really cool. I will say because we
There's
didn't give any
nothing-
love to the
We
costumes at all.
can't. You can't fault any costume or vehicle. in this
Arguably
movie.
the best Batmobile. I mean, certainly
Although somebody in here is bitching about the fact that it had turn signals, which is kind of funny.
you got to turn. You got to be safe.
It had turn signals. I didn't even notice
They
that.
said.
The Batmobile I thought was great.
Go pick up if you have not. This is not. I don't make these. The Art of and the Tech Journal. These are phenomenal. The scene, his nightmare costume. We don't ever see fully.
Yeah.
He's got his gun. There's a Joker card taped to his gun.
Oh,
Go and read these books. They're phenomenal.
Sorry, Johnny, you can talk about story. I just
Not
wanted
at
to
all. A
mention
lot
that.
of people want to know our thoughts on the scene with Flash in the dream scene.
Oh, we get.
Oh,
we going.
we're just
well,
Jumping ahead?
We're jumping ahead because this is what people keep asking, begging for us
show
to
with
know.
the chat. Let's start with the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Start.
The
Go for it.
opening scene of the movie with the pearls and the beautifulness of it all.
I have to.
that-
Yes, I have to talk. But please.
Do I get to talk? Or
Absolutely,
Do you,
Roxy. I will.
So keep going.
I know, no, because I know all he wants to do is. So go ahead, say it, and then I'll
please.
respond to you.
No, please go.
I didn't love this. I didn't love this to be the opening of a movie. I think that it was really, really beautifully shot. I think that it was well executed. I think that he nailed exactly what he wanted to do. It wasn't what I wanted to see. I think that it's very difficult because we are watching a scene that we have watched so many times, so many times. So you want to make your mark on it. You want to do something different. This wasn't well explained. So if it is your first time seeing something, I don't even think you really know what's going on. But I didn't need it to be well explained because I've seen it a million times. Of the versions we have seen, this was not even close to my favorite.
Okay.
No, please.
All right. No, I liked it. I liked updating it from Zorro to Excalibur.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, it was still Zorro poster on the.
on the left.
Oh, was, okay,
It
there was.
said-
And
it
then
said coming
Excalibur
soon,
was playing.
Excalibur.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Zorro
love
was on the
putting it
wall.
in 1981. I love
We
that.
got that
I
it
love
was
the
Zorro.
costume of it. Yeah. I liked the montage a lot. I mean, I thought it looked beautiful. I liked him falling down. I also liked him rising up with the bats out of the thing and floating because it was the first sort of fantastical thing you're seeing. And
It took me out of it for a second. I was like,
Right,
"What is
it's
it?
like,
The
wait, what's
wind?"
going on
and then
here?
it's not
Totally
in
took
the,
me out of
but
it.
It's like,
Right.
but then he's like in the dream.
Right. It's in the dream, right? And then so I like that whole sequence. The first bit of dialogue in the film was where I had my first cringeworthy moment, which set me off in a bad taste. And this was the great part with Bruce Wayne driving into the city. And then he picks up the phone and calls Jack and tells Jack to get everybody out of the film. I just thought that was really dumb because I'm like,
Not out of the film, out of the building.
out of the building.
They
But
should have
that's
already
out of
been
the
doing
film.
that, right?
They were waiting for Bruce Wayne to
I
call
know,
them
I
and
know.
say get out of the building. I had
Yeah.
a huge problem with that.
Standing still, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, boss."
Like everybody's
yeah,
just standing in the building while the city's getting decimated, and they're all just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Hey, Bruce, get everybody out of the building.
Yeah,
all right,
okay.
everybody go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was very confused by
It
that. 'Cause
bothered me.
It's already, like, shit's already going down, and Jack turns around and is like, oh, I guess we should.
He's still a hero if he charges toward the building. I get it. You're trying to make him sound like the boss, but if they're like, until the boss says go, we go down with this building.
I didn't feel that.
Okay.
Go
But-
ahead, Mike.
The origin.
Anybody else
and
feel
this
that?
is, and I can safely say that I have probably seen this version done, the Death of the Waynes, countless times,
Many times.
and it was so fresh and new because
Better than Gotham?
for the very first time, and I could be wrong on this, guys, for the very first time, Thomas Wayne was not going, "Oh, what's wrong? Let me help you." He, if you watch, balls up his fist and charges the man. He is I am going to fight. Martha comes up, grabs and pushes the gun down. They both were fighting this. We've never seen this. And it goes back to, Alfred, what were the Waynes? Well, they were rails. No, we were hunters.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
God,
is
that whole
Thomas
thing.
Wayne.
This was a setup for my least favorite part
Well,
of the
no.
entire movie, which is him turning over and saying, "Martha, So that's supposed to haunt us the whole time.
Yeah.
Martha, the biggest plot device in the whole fucking movie.
Which was phenomenal.
The dumbest shit I have ever
We're talking
ever
about
witnessed.
the Waynes, and this is a Thomas Wayne who could be Batman in Flashpoint.
Yeah.
This is a Thomas
yeah,
Wayne.
yeah.
He is like, you're going to come after my family? You, man, I'm going to take you down.
Well, he hired
And
a
then
comedian to be him.
It's phenomenal. It gave a different take on the Waynes that has been done so many times. We saw a new version of Thomas and Martha Wayne that were protecting their son, and I loved it. The Martha line, when it came back, I loved it.
So needless to say, you did not enjoy the Martha connection. Is that what you're saying?
That is another thing that really
Do we
made
talk about that now, or do we wait till the end of the?
we wait.
Okay, let's keep going.
We wait.
Charging through. So beginning. All right. So intro of the film.
Johnny,
All right, moving on. I'm on top of it. Let's see here. We have the opening.
You wanted to talk about the dreams and visions. You want to just talk about them in general because there's so many of them.
There's so many of them. People want to know the Flash scene, and then, of course, it all ties in at the end when Batman or when Bruce Wayne goes, "I just got a feeling," of course, because he's got.
Both times I loved the Flash scene. Second time I loved it more because I could actually make out the Flash helmet underneath the tech helmet.
The visor,
So I actually the second time I seen it, I was like, what is this thing? Oh, that's cool that's Flash. Why does he look like Flash Iron Man? And then I realized it's just probably what he uses to be able to go not just fast, but when he's got to go interdimensional travel.
Right.
That's his time travel suit.
Yeah.
And then what I loved was the line, I'm like, am I too soon? Was he saying, am I early or am I too soon?
I'm too early. I'm too early.
You know,
That's
it's cool that
Lois. It's Lois. She's the key.
Right.
You gotta fight him.
Because you're expecting to hear, I'm too late. I'm too late. Am I too late? I'm too early. I'm too early.
I'm too early.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
But
And Bruce is just
only
like,
time will
what
tell. Time will tell what the hell is going on here.
And
but
I love that.
But I
Yeah.
love this.
Because questions, it honestly asked questions that felt organic, even though they were within,
Right.
it was within a dream. It was like, all right, Zack Snyder is just showing us a masturbatory Batman in the desert fight piece, and then it's,
Okay.
but no, this could be a future.
Yeah,
Yes,
this could be a future.
that's
which
what
is
I think. Yeah.
So cool. I loved this part. I will say, for people who didn't know that there was a Flash even in this universe, for people who don't know Ezra
Right.
Miller was cast, my entire theater, I think audibly was like, huh? Like, what?
See, my
That got huge
understood.
my
applause
theater
both
went like
times,
this. My
Mike.
theater
So
went,
funny.
the Flash. We
See,
all went nuts.
I don't think a single person, when I was watching, knew what was happening, and I was like, what?
And again, this is a movie for the fans.
Yeah.
Because we get that.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know what?
The first time you
Thank
see the
you for
Flash,
making a
it's in the
movie for
time
us.
travel thing. Like, wow.
Thank you for making a movie for us.
Yeah, I thought that was a really,
Okay.
really cool moment.
So
The other
that was
dream parts?
the first time you see
Okay.
the Flash.
Are we talking all flashbacks right
No,
now?
I think we're
Well,
talking
yeah,
about
might as well. I
dream
mean,
stuff.
the desert parademons thing. I think
As
that's a vision of the
cool
future, and that's
as-
one of the reasons he wants to get the lead together.
As cool as that
So
nightmare
the
scene
Orion
was,
symbol, you know.
as cool as it was, I don't think we needed it.
I don't think we needed it
It
either.
was weird.
I think it,
We needed him
things
doing the
got
computers.
fuzzy and a little strange for me
Do
there.
the computers kind of drift off as the computer's downloading?
Right.
Flash, Bruce, that we needed. The
Yeah.
nightmare scene, or it could have been placed differently. But it just seemed weird, and I liked it visually. It's cool. I
And that's
wasn't-
Zack Snyder's MO. Visually, it was cool, is like what he says to himself when he goes to sleep at night.
To me, it's almost a Captain Phasm in Star Wars where an artist drew it, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. We got to put it in."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was put in.
Well, you know, I guess
I completely agree.
it's bothersome to see Batman using a handgun so like fluidly and all
It didn't
that.
bother me though if it was the future.
Right,
We don't
exactly.
know what's going on.
That's why I actually I come down on the side of liking that scene a lot because it really does. The Flash coming out of it, like it really says no, and then you flash, and as soon as that happens, you're like, no, this isn't just like his dreaming what could happen. We were even saying that leading up to it, like, how is he having a premonition? If the Orion symbol's there, then it must be a premonition.
And the
then
dark
we all
pits,
started to
dark side
suspect,
pits.
oh,
Yeah.
maybe it's Flash, and it played off like that. I thought the scene, the choreography was a little wonky at times, but I loved seeing him get put out by a parademon up close.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't notice until the
they were
second time
parademons. They were
when he came
parademons.
close. You see a parademon come almost to like the foreground of the
They have
screen.
the red eyes. And
Yes.
The
And then-
biomechanical.
And then seeing the Flash thing was just so cool. So,
Well, what did you
yeah.
think about the dream sequence with him in front of his mom's?
I think it's
Plot.
it's a trope of Bruce Wayne still is haunted by the memory of his parents. What
Yeah.
he does.
When it started bleeding, that got creepy, and then I
Yeah.
jumped out of my seat.
oh my gosh, because it took me a second to realize what was going on even in that moment. And I was like, what the
This is literal comic book imagery
Yeah,
in a really
Yeah.
well done way. And again, these were a lot of the same kind of scenes that took me out of it the first time. And then I'm like imagining
And it
reading this
shows-
graphic novel, and I'm like, oh, that
shows
makes sense in that graphic novel.
that he's still haunted by this 40 years later.
Oh, 591 people watching right now.
I
We're
know.
getting up
This
there.
is the most we've ever
Is
had.
this the most? I know it'd be the most we
did
ever
it.
had.
We did it.
Thanks, guys. We love
Roxy.
you. We love you.
I love
point.
you guys. I'm sorry.
What is
We're
it?
there's so much to talk about.
Are we missing another? Are we missing a point or
No, no.
Another
Oh,
vision. I want to get back around to talking about those other JL members too, but we still have the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
It's
The
gonna be a
USB
4-hour
drive
episode.
of the Justice League. We already kind of touched on this briefly.
Okay.
Overall,
What was your guys' favorite one of Cyborg, Flash, and of Aquaman?
Aquaman?
I mean,
It was Aquaman?
Aquaman.
What was yours?
he looked pissed off. He looked because for everyone who's like, "Oh, Aquaman's historically been a joke." You saw Aquaman in this film, you're like,
Yeah.
he ain't joking.
No, I thought Aquaman was cool. Okay, again, this was the
Cyborg
first time
thing
I
was
saw
crazy too, though.
Yeah, yeah. well,
Cyborg to me did not work because it looked like actor Joe Morton was on a set on a green screen, and everything created around him was green screen.
I agree with that, but I just was fascinated. I was like leaning forward, what is going on here? And even with Flash, seeing him again, I thought maybe they would skip it because we already saw him.
Right.
So I
Guys,
was happy.
friend of the show, King Famous, is texting me now. He really wants to talk about Cyborg on the tack board.
Okay.
Is that so? I'm assuming like when you see him just back
Right,
there
yeah,
on
yeah.
the thing, like screaming, right? And they're trying all these things to revive him,
Right.
And Dr. Silas
Silas
Stone
Stone.
is trying to figure it out. And then I didn't even notice it until the second time. There's a black box that comes alive,
A mother box.
and then it shoots into him. He screams like a mother, and
Yeah.
he's come alive. So now my question is, just to talk about this, when does that happen? Does that happen when the Kryptonian first like put the his
We
piece in
don't
the thing?
know.
We don't know.
I have no
So is it
idea
the same
when.
energy that like called the Kryptonians? And even in Suicide Squad, we hear the thing. It's almost like the Superman was a beacon. He literally was a beacon. He plugs
Right.
that thing in Man of Steel, and it alerts the galaxy.
And now this is
that there's
interesting. This is a
the
Zack
28 known
Snyder.
galaxies.
If it is this, it's a Zack Snyder mother box because the mother boxes, what they do is create boom tubes.
Right.
And it's time
But
travel.
doesn't a version of Cyborg have that too? I think like I don't know if it's New 52 or
it's the
what.
New
Fans, we
52.
need. I know that there is a version of Cyborg
They
that
were
does create boom
terraforming.
tubes.
They were using
Trap, well, we need you right here. We need you on this
they were
Cyborg info.
terraforming humans, turning them into parademons, and it was the technology of Apocalypse. So it's very similar.
a lot of people don't like how it was CGI'd as far
Because
as
that's the
Cyborg
thing.
scene.
It looked like I'm walking. I go to this point in the green screen, and it just
Yeah.
looked flat. If they would have built a lab, had the actor, because I can guarantee Ray Fisher was not in that scene. That was his face, kind of CGI'd. It might have tracked him and put it on there.
Yeah.
The two actors were not in the same scene. It looked
Right.
like they brought Joe Morton in for a day.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
absolutely.
Joe, point here, talk here, look in this
Right.
camera, and that's why it didn't work. With Momoa, he was in an underwater tank somewhere filming this scene, and it just looked
That was almost like a Luke
awesome.
Skywalker and Force Awakens cameo for Aquaman. Like we knew Aquaman was going to be in
and
it,
my
but he
buddy-
really wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, he
he was
wasn't.
just
I went
he was
with
on file footage.
A guy who loved Aquaman. That's his character. He's
Yeah.
like my Batman. And watching him, because I knew it was coming, I looked over at him, and he was out of his seat, and he was just like, and it was just like,
What
he loved
yeah.
it.
What I loved about that, do you remember early on when we first started getting still photos, and there was in the Indian Ocean when the kids were diving down,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, is that Aquaman with a hood on his head?"
yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
just
Kryptonite.
Here's another question though for the Aquaman thing. Another question for DC fans out there. I want to know. So if like Lex Luthor has this file on this Aquaman, right? So much that they got a logo. How do they only have a file on him and not a whole race of Atlanteans?
Because that's the only one they've seen.
Oh, so he's the only one they've seen. So why is that? Is it because he's the only guy that can walk in both worlds?
No, I think that footage was of that ship, and they're like, "What the hell is
Who
this
is
thing?"
this? What is it?
It's
Yeah.
like a.
They caught
it's
it.
like when
So
they're
they're
And then
safe
he-
in their
and
own
then he
world, deep in the
smashes it
trench.
out.
Yeah,
Right.
he's just
Okay.
he probably was swimming around, doing whatever. Maybe there's something in that ship he was trying to find out. Why is this ship? Maybe the Atlanteans destroyed that ship.
Yeah.
We don't know, but and now maybe LexCorp sent the sub, and he's searching for Atlantis.
And they caught him.
They caught it, and now he's in there, and they're like, send down a drone, find out why our ship went down, and he's in there.
So water played a big role in this movie. People thought Aquaman would play a bigger role, especially when we had like the whole thing going on with Lois Lane and going through. Did you guys expect to
It's
see him
interesting
again?
that
I never expected him to show up
It's interesting
there.
that he had a poster and he's got action figures. Flash
They
does not,
really-
Cyborg does not. So I expected a little more. I'm glad I didn't because we talk about shoehorning so many
There's
characters in
enough.
and who's going
There's
to get
enough.
enough.
The
It was
Justice League
enough.
movie is obviously what we just heard today. Like Zack Snyder described it as Batman's Seven Samurai film,
Traveling the
and
world, finding
exactly.
these
So
people.
it's just going to be them gathering this crew. So they're going to find Aquaman.
Right.
So yeah, first time I saw the film, I'm like, these are very gratuitous and shoehorned in. Second time, Just loving him.
Yeah.
Just loving him.
Peter
I'm just
Parker
okay,
says-
fine. Just give it to me.
The fact that Lex had it, not Bruce.
That is awesome.
Lex
that
is-
is awesome. And
The
now
Bruce-
Bruce has it, and Lex is just like, he's in
And
jail.
Bruce is just like, oh God, I'm obsolete. I can't.
Yeah, how about Bruce stealing from Lex twice? How about, like, we were criminals?
scene-
We've always been criminals.
That scene,
Yeah.
he's walking and
Never-
and Clark picks it up and he's just like, what is...
Oh, Clark picks it up!
God.
That was great.
Well, so did Diana, though.
Yes, it's like...
Well, did she know? She didn't pick up on the frequency.
She started,
No.
she started following him.
She's
though.
like,
Yeah.
who's
She
this
was-
guy?
But she just is smart.
Yeah.
She was
knew.
looking for the file separately, right? Bruce was cloning the file.
Right.
She was looking for the original. She went
She
down there and
wanted the
steals
picture
both
that
of them.
belonged to her.
Yeah.
Right,
exactly.
Which is weird, right? That her motivation was like for a picture. Like, was that just a cover of her
No, that's
motivation?
what her motivation was for.
What, just so people wouldn't see how old she is?
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs to keep that quiet.
Yeah, of course.
She has said, I was like, I don't want to be a part of this world. I
But
want
again,
every-
this is
She
something
bought
that
into
I can understand critics of the film, bashing that element, which they are. They're just like, oh, well, she just needed
All
a
right,
picture.
let's. We've already been going for a full hour, so let's
We're
get
just
to
getting started.
let's get to the meat of the potatoes here.
Okay.
Doomsday. Leading up to the movie, we were like, well, if they're showing Doomsday in the trailer, that doesn't mean it's the be-all, end-all.
Right.
When it came down to it, it kind of
He
was.
was the big boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I'll just say this.
I really wish it wasn't in the trailer.
I wish it wasn't in the trailer.
Because right now, if it
wish it
wasn't
was
in the,
not in the
trailer,
trailer.
we'd all be saying, "Oh my God, Doomsday was freaking great."
No, I'm
but
chill
because
with it
we
being
saw
in
him
the
in the trailer, we're like, "Oh,
You're
well,
okay with it being in the trailer?
Yeah, because you guys know I like that little bit of a spoiler.
They should have showed the first version of him in the trailer, if anything.
Yeah, maybe that.
That would have made, and I love that because that would have made fanboys more pissed off if they
even-
only showed lumpy, no spiky Doomsday.
Yeah,
Just like
or
him-
maybe him being birthed, where you don't know
yeah,
what
him
it
in
is.
the condom and him just like kind
What
of
did you
poking
do?
through.
Yeah, you didn't need
Condom.
to see it because Doomsday was really more effective in the theater that I saw it in twice than I thought it would be because they gave him the metamorphosis.
He looked awesome.
and you really robbed that whole reveal from the audience, and it would have been such a boom moment. It would have been like a crazy moment because first you would have seen this lumpy monster, like who is this? And then when he starts ripping his back off, like post the nuclear explosion. And by the way, just sidebar: the Superman post-nuclear explosion in space, straight out of The Dark Knight
Creepy as hell.
Returns.
Yeah.
Creepy as hell.
Wow.
Yeah.
That image both times.
I
I'm
would've
like,
liked it-
wow.
Oh, I just enjoyed what a big threat Doomsday was in this movie because I kind of thought that it wasn't going to be as scary as it was. And when we finally get to the end, where in order to take him down, Superman, which I saw a little bit coming, but Superman has to die in order to do this, I was like, that's a good villain. That's a good villain when you have to take out your hero in order to kill the villain. So I thought they did a good job.
I think I would have liked to have seen one more moment because my audience, when he started spikes,
Yeah.
we were all like, oh. I wanted one more where they really protruded and the brow.
Yeah.
And we
Although it
needed
was
one more-
cool that his arm was a giant spike
all
that
would have been
eventually
with
did
another
the deed.
20, 30,000 to ILM or whatever. Guys, we
Yeah.
need one more scene of him freaking out.
And how
That would have
disturbing
sold it.
was it when Lex was just pulling the body of Zod? That was so visually.
When he put his
just,
own
Oh, when he
blood
puts it in
on
the
him.
water and
yeah, just
What was up with
disturbing.
that was almost like aping like Superman for the Quest for Peace when like Lex had to get his DNA involved in
That
the mix
to me
there.
seems like we need a scene of
What
the
was that about?
Kryptonian ship and him learning.
Yeah.
We need something like how did he know that the ship is a
Yeah,
birthday
but it-
chamber?
you
Didn't
thought
come
you
full
had it-
circle enough. I needed something
That's
more.
I think that's the director's cut.
It was almost like he got the evil version of like Kal-El talking to Jor-El, like
Right.
in like
Yeah.
Superman and the original Donner Superman. It's like he was just tell me everything, and they just jacked him up Matrix style with all the dark
because
secrets.
they do, and going back to Man of Steel, they do talk about how Kryptonians there is no natural birth anymore,
Yeah.
where it's all you're created.
but
so
this-
the Genesis chamber and all that, the Matrix, the Codex.
But that resuscitation of life was outlawed.
right,
That little
Yeah.
process,
but
that little
he
bait
learned that
cycle.
it wasn't. He learned
Yeah.
that we had to create. So we just needed that explanation.
And I still, my favorite part of this though, I enjoyed when
You're right.
he walks in and they're like, would you like to take over the control of this? And he's like, yes.
Yes, please. Yeah, his
Yes, I
read
would.
on that was
Yeah, I
right.
was like,
Yes, I would.
great. Like,
Yes,
okay,
I
I'm
would.
in. I'm in
Yes,
on
I
this.
would,
I don't
please.
have to.
I think that will be explained a little more in the director's cut.
Yeah,
I think
I
there's
agree.
something.
I can't
agree.
wait for the director's cut. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Wow.
July
so let's
16th,
see.
July 16th.
Can we go back and talk about something I know you
Let's
want
go
to
back,
talk
go back.
about, which is the peach piss.
Oh yeah, okay,
Granny's peach tea.
Okay, so I guess
Love peach tea.
a problem that I had the first time, and then I still kind of do, is like, all right, I know we gave Superman a lot of leeway because it was his first time being Superman in Man of Steel, but this time he's gotten better. There is a great montage of him being heroic. After the first viewing, I'm like, the only person he saved was Lois. No. You go watch it. There's a whole montage of all the things he's doing.
Then the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, it was huge. The piss thing. I found the explosion of the Capitol was very jarring. It was very hard to watch. It's supposed to be, okay. What I would have liked to have seen is like that last second where Superman figures out what's going on, and maybe he saves some of those people. Maybe he throws himself over the bomb, and like there's just people coming out in stretchers and stuff. But it just happens, and he's just standing there like that.
But
and
he addressed
really
that. He goes,
me.
"I didn't do it. I should have seen it. I was."
I know he
blinded to
does,
it."
but I'm still mad at him. Just because he's saying I'm sorry doesn't mean like I'm still like pissed at him. I want him to be better at
Pun
being
intended.
Superman than that. I guess I'm judging him as being good at Superman. I'm like he let one go there that like he would have heard it. There was all that time we're waiting, and she sees the piss, and like he picks up something on a
There
heartbeat
was
or
a
something.
lot of time that went
Like
by.
right, so I'm like, in all that time, I'm like, Superman, like do something.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
didn't, and that upset me. And again, less the second viewing because I had seen it, I dealt with it, and I get it makes this the most evil Lex we've ever seen because he kills all these people in cold blood.
Kills his
He kills
bodyguard.
Mercy.
I was even
But you still could have had Superman save some of those people, and it still gets the point across.
Even with the senator, I was a little upset. I felt like there was so much time that went by where she clearly knew something was up, and
Yep.
it's just like
But
I don't know.
I did
her
not think the bomb was
processing-
gonna go off.
Oh my
No,
god!
no clue.
I can't
Even though it
believe
was
that
leaked before that we heard Scoop McNairy was going to possibly be the weapon that
Right.
called people. Like,
But
that
I thought, like I told you guys, I thought he was gonna be like Mentallo or something.
Can you guys believe that one of the major plot points of this was a jar of piss? Like that's what it was when it comes
I don't
down.
agree with that. I
Was
don't
that
agree
really
with that. It was
piss,
just the
though?
symbology. It
There was
wasn't
the
a
tea bag was in it.
Symbol.
No, I think it was his piss.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't his piss.
Either
I
way-
the fact that he's like, I got into your Senate hearing, I put a jar of fucking piss. The lady,
Yeah.
I could do whatever I want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
either
he did.
way
But
for-
I felt
yeah.
like she was made up to be this very smart character. I feel like Superman's supposed to be our hero, and I feel like both of them just completely dropped the ball here.
Or Lex is smarter than them.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that that's what we want to be thinking.
Lex is smarter than
Lex
them?
is smarter
that,
than Superman.
That Lex is
Yeah.
smarter than Superman,
Yes,
but I don't think that what we want to be
absolutely.
thinking is that
because
they
Superman
can't
is stronger, Lex is smarter.
For all the
That's
Lex
the-
detractors who
Okay.
said, "Oh, he wasn't
Think about
scary," that
this.
was devious. What he did, horribly devious. So.
Lex is supposed to be the smartest guy in the room. He's supposed to be the
Yeah.
villain who's the smartest guy in the room. But I think that him murdering a lot of people is enough. Superman is that stupid. I think that it was too big of a gap. And same thing with the Senator. Not even Superman because he's our hero.
That's why I'm saying.
But they're not blaming Lex. No one's blaming Lex. They're blaming Superman.
Right.
You brought this. You're in this.
No, I'm talking about as an audience member. I'm not talking about as if I was
Right.
in
Oh.
if I was in the
I'm
civilization.
looking at it as everyone outside going, this explosion would have happened if he was not here.
Right.
And he
Right.
made the choice to go there and stand up
Right.
as like, okay, I will be accountable. I will answer to you. And she's like, this is how it works. A democracy. We talk.
Yeah.
Right.
He's coming forward, and like his dad said, don't come out. Don't you dare come out because
I
people
like
will
that.
hate
I just
you.
would have liked a little Superman reaction there. It really would have made the whole pill go
Or
down a lot
it-
easier.
or
Do you
it needed to
disagree? Do you
happen
think that?
quicker.
I mean,
It didn't bother me.
It just
but
needed
I mean, look.
faster.
What do you think in that scene? If he does something, if he saves some people, if you see him take the explosion,
Yeah.
you see. I mean, like it could have been a great effect. Like,
Okay,
instead, it was
okay.
just a
I see
super
it.
jarring, and it was a
But
jump scare.
At the same time, everyone dying allowed everyone to turn on him that much more, though.
Right, but they knew it was a suicide bomber. I get it, but they could still turn on him, and I just want to see, as the audience member,
And can
I
we-
just want to see him smothering that freaking bomb.
Can we all
and not
just-
just like everything goes out. He's like, oopsie.
Can we all just admit how snowblown everyone was? I killed your family. No Joker,
Oh, yeah, it
no
was Lex,
anyone.
yeah.
They pulled secrets. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, that's the Joker, that's this is.
Yeah.
No, it was Lex. There's another thing that
That was
happened
one
in
of the
movie.
few plot points
Yeah.
we didn't know. Most of this movie was pretty much laid out.
I did not know that Senate explosion happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Superman dies.
That I didn't know.
I had
that
no
I thought.
idea.
That I didn't
At
know.
some point in the movie, did you not feel like we were getting to that point?
No.
Only when they telegraphed it.
At the end.
At the end, when they have that moment, and that is another thing that bothered me, not to jump around, but when they have that moment when she goes no, and he goes to get
You're
the
talking
spirit
about
fire,
Lois?
Yeah.
it's just a broadcast. It's just a little bit like I know you're gonna die thing. I wanted the surprise,
Right.
But look, it still got me, and I liked him the pulling it onto each other. Honestly, the whole Doomsday fight is one of the best fights with a giant supernatural special effecting monster that I've seen, because Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman were all doing their thing in spectacular fashion. But the one thing I would have thought is like, why couldn't Superman like pass that kryptonite lance to Wonder Woman, who was more than capable of getting close enough?
I was thinking that too.
Like, she won't be affected by the kryptonite. She can
It's
get in there.
obvious why he doesn't give it to Lois, but it's freaking Wonder Woman. Why don't you just throw it over to her?
Not always the brightest soups. He's like, oh, I was just gonna cook dinner.
And we already talked. I know Roxy did not like the Martha connection. What do you guys think of it?
Oh, we're getting like we're
Big
really
moment.
diving
Where
into
are
the
we
Martha
going?
thing.
Okay, so they're fighting. Okay, what about the fight themselves? The
are we
big
talking-
fight, Batman v Superman. We didn't talk about that fight.
There's two different fights. We haven't really dived into either of them that much. The first one being the Batman v Superman one, which is the title of this whole thing, which lasted about 5 minutes. How did you guys feel about that fight?
I had no problem with the length of the time
No.
they were fighting with each other. It was a long, epic fight.
Yeah,
as it
and
should
Batman
be.
v Superman is not about them physically fighting. It's about them being
ideologies.
opposed. That's what the whole film's about. So a critique of the fight being short is very silly. It's very satisfying.
I
to
don't
me.
think it's silly. I don't think
Really?
it's silly.
You wanted that fight to just go on longer? Like, that was one of my biggest problems with Man of Steel's ending. It was just like
wasn't
on and on and
necessarily
on.
just the time. It just felt so simple to me at moments. Like every single time he just takes out the kryptonite and then it's like he's beating his face in. I wanted this to be more of an even match. It wasn't. And I thought that Batman, like I said, crushed Superman. He annihilated him.
I love the part when
Which was
Superman...
unexpected, so I kind of dug that.
When Superman, when the kryptonite gas wears off and he starts taking the fist punches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I love that part. Yeah, it was a big gladiator slam. It was shot so huge. You
And
got to
this is-
see this in IMAX, guys. You got to see this fight in IMAX because it
This
just looks
is
so
not
huge.
the end of the movie, so it didn't have to be the epic film, like the.
I
it's
guess
not
you want to know what it is, though? The problem isn't with the actual fight. It's that with what happens afterwards that
Okay.
makes it look so
So
stupid.
this is the part
I
that,
think
that
that
a lot of
that's
people
why-
have a problem with, where he's like, they're gonna kill Martha.
Because there was no holding back at all
Well-
in this fight. Like Superman at first was holding back a little. Batman, you could tell he was all in. He felt no remorse
he
about
didn't
any of that, which made the switch so weird for me.
Well, listen,
Oh, then
no,
here I am.
Superman. By the way, Superman was never trying to kill Batman in this fight. He was
Unless
always
it
trying to
came
get him
down
on his
to it.
side.
Right.
Oh, unless he possibly had to save
Like
him, but he
says
wasn't
to
going to do that.
Lois is like, not all men are good, what
Or
does
he
say?
has to die.
Yeah.
No one can stay good in this world anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's going back
I will
saying,
do
like,
whatever I can, but if it comes down to it, I will kill him.
Fair enough.
So
Fair
he
enough.
was not at that point yet. Okay, we're gonna talk about the Martha.
Yeah.
Is that where we're at?
Yeah. So he's down on the ground and he says they're going to kill Martha. And then
No, he said,
He had a guy's boot crushing his skull.
Sure, that's fine.
His neck. He's choking.
And he's already weakened by the kryptonite,
yes,
so
but,
he's
but
more
it's
human.
just it's very much a broadcasted plot point that he drops his mother's name just so and like then Superman, Batman is like, "Oh, why did you say Martha?" Like,
because all right.
look, that's the question. Look, obviously the name is a trigger. It's one of Batman's triggers. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
The name Martha's a trigger. It's always going to mess him up.
He could have
So
said.
fucking
He
stupid.
could have said, He's gonna kill my mom. He's gonna kill my mom.
Right.
But either or, it's the same thing. It's a plot point. It's a structure. It humanized this alien to Batman. What? You have a mother? He doesn't know he's got a family.
Well, to be fair, Batman started talking about father's stories. He's like, I bet your parents started
Okay.
teaching you about
Okay.
this. This is what my parents taught me,
Okay, I didn't-
dying in an
okay.
alley. So it was your typical brooding, like, but it was
Okay.
funny that Batman brings up parents first.
But the fact that it humanized him, who this man, he's always called an alien, here is a man at his feet that he's going to end his life. And it struck me. It saw Bruce is like, I'm going to make this man an orphan. I'm going to kill this woman's got a son, and I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That's not me. That's not who I am.
God, that is the
See, and Roxy, it's different
the
because
dumbest thing
see,
I've
you're
ever
looking at that.
heard.
I'm looking at that as a lifelong fan of Batman. It spoke to me, and it was just, it was a fantastic moment of him going, I can't kill you. You're not my enemy. And it's the same. It's a moment where he's just like, and when he goes, he's like, she will not die tonight. Like that.
And then
line,
he's like, I'm a friend of your son's.
and I loved it. That
That I
that
liked.
friend, I'm a friend
That
of
I
your
liked.
son's. And people are like, it didn't earn it. It's like,
Yeah.
here's a man dressed in a bat suit that just
yeah.
went through an entire room full of
Fuck.
people. This woman is terrified. Hey,
That.
I'm a friend of your son.
I love that, and I thought that was funny, and a lot of the humor
and her
worked more than
son's
it
not
did for
alone
me.
anymore.
And you know what? That was the part that the first time I saw it, the Martha thing, I was like rolling my eyes like crazy.
Yeah.
Again, ready for it the second time. Didn't bother me as much. And then when it's off to the races, another part I liked is at the beginning of the fight when he calls him Bruce. I love that there was no pretense about anything. Like, he tries to talk to him as a person, like, straight from the gate, and then Batman doesn't hear him. The first time I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, listen, Batman isn't that dumb that he's just blind to this guy trying to reason to him. I think that was a little convenient that Batman was going to be like, no matter what you say, I'm attacking. But it led us into the fight that was the main plot of the film. After that, I thought it was great. And then that leads us to one of the greatest scenes in the film when Batman does rescue Martha.
Uh-oh. You don't agree? You don't like
we're torn on this because
you don't like the
I
line
loved
of
Martha. I thought
I'm friends with your son. I figured that. You hate that.
The whole thing. I'm telling you, like, because all you can do when you're watching things is personalize them. Of
course.
yourself.
That's absolutely right.
So when I'm watching this, if I'm thinking about this through my own eyes and I hate somebody and I'm kicking the shit out of them and I'm beating them to kill them, and they look at me, my mom's name was Lori, and they say, Lori, that's gonna, if it affects me, I'll think maybe they're talking about my mom. Did they know my mom? If it's about their fucking mom, I don't care.
But he didn't know it was his mom.
And that's why Bruce goes, why did you say that name?
That's the part I liked. I like that he is affected by it.
He's like, are you manipulating me? Why are you doing that?
I like that he's affected by it. I hate that when he finds out it's about the other guy's mom, he cares. Why the fuck?
Because he's human.
Care about
He's a human.
Because he's human.
I thought it was so
He's a guy.
stupid.
He's like, oh my
No.
God! It was the moment of
No.
what it is the moment we've all been in where we get so heated up and it's just
No.
like you stop for a second. Whenever and people we argue like take a minute, take a breather. That was his like, oh my God, what have I become? What am I doing here? My entire life is led to this point. This is my legacy, and this is what's going to be. No,
Didn't see it on his face. Didn't hear it in the lines.
I did. I
Was
absolutely did.
zero bit affected. Could not believe that it all came down to him saying Martha about his own mother, and that changed his mind. Really, Batman? You are that fucking self-centered that you never once thought he has a family? You went in
Bruce
for the kill
Wayne is
and you didn't
incredibly
hear?
self-centered.
You went
That
in for
is
the
a
kill?
character.
No, this is not Batman. This is not Batman. You think Batman is the kind of
this
person...
also isn't like, listen, he hasn't humanized Superman up to this point. Like, the
No.
reason he's able to assassinate this thing is it's an alien, it's a threat to the planet, and he doesn't think of him as a human being at all, even though Alfred's been putting it in his ear the whole
man
time.
is not
You know,
our
he's
enemy.
not our enemy. So and then it's at that moment, after fighting him, it comes clear. Lois Lane shows up, there's a moment in the break in the adrenaline, and he's able to see it. I totally get the eye rolling of the moment, but I
God.
appreciate what's supposed to be happening there. It really is where Batman's character makes the big leap in the film.
It was
it's like
such a
where he
light
switches.
switch moment.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me at all, and it was
That's
such
fair.
a major part of the
I
film.
think that's totally valid to feel that way.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I actually have to hit the road soon. What else do we have?
Okay,
left?
so what other major plot points are we going to talk about? So we talked about all the Justice League members. We talked about now. What about actually the? Okay, so the explosion in space. I just want to say that moment. I said it before when Superman's dead in space. We get to see the sun resuscitate him.
Yeah.
How'd you guys like that moment?
Dark Knight Returns. It's great. It was great.
That gave me feels.
A lot of people,
Visually, I thought it was really
a lot
cool,
of
too.
people had problems with the fact that they launched that nuclear weapon so fast. I'm like, guys, they dealt with Man of Steel, what this guy's capable of. They're
They were
not taking
ready.
any chances.
They were hot on the
They're ready
button.
to go at any moment. They're not like, should we wait? Should we? No. Yep. Doing this again. Kill him. That's fine.
It's the right call. It's absolutely the right call. And look, about that fight again, Doomsday still got applause at the theater that I saw last night. And then when he evolved, he got more applause. I really wish they would have held on to that evolution because that was.
the Wonder Woman, and then the scene with Bruce just looking back and forth at them, and it was that panning shot of them fighting. He's just like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I'm obsolete.
Yeah, although he
My
did
world
manage
is
to
over.
find one more kryptonite grenade and throw it in there, and that meant it a little bit.
Of course, it's Batman. I love that the three of them were doing stuff on all. They teamed up. I
So,
love
Yeah,
that.
so
that was
Clark
a
falls
solid
in.
team.
What did you think about the death of Superman, the final climactic?
It had to happen.
I
It
mean,
had to.
yeah. I love the fact that they went there. It really makes me excited to see Justice League.
It just made the stakes even higher for this. And I honestly saw it coming, but I thought that it was great, and I don't think that most people expected it. So
Yeah.
I think that they did a really good job.
I know a lot of people always want to see a happy ending. I don't need to see that. I want to be excited for the next round, and that's what this movie did. And
More so the second time than the first time for me.
Yep.
But What do you think? Where do you think they go with Superman from here? Like, so does he
don't
only appear at the
know.
end of the first
I
Justice
don't
League film?
know.
Is he going to be in some
That's what it's
version of
gotta
the
be,
4
I think.
different characters, the different inclinations? Is he going to be evil? Is that vision that Batman sees by the Flash? Is that like an evil, dark
Let's-
Superman that emerges?
And this
Interesting.
could be nothing, and it could be something. If you see Cavill in all his press, he's got a buzz cut.
Interesting.
So, and they're filming in 2 weeks. Is this going to be
we don't know if he's filming in 2 weeks.
okay? But that hair, could he be a wig? But you know what happened? If they're filming, they're like
They could be going to the long. I hope they go to the long hair post
Yeah.
of
Are we
Superman
gonna
wig.
get that?
That's what everybody was talking about.
Are we going to get that? You know, are they just going to wig him?
And then
interesting.
how is he going to be different? It's really, I gotta say, did this movie do a good job of raising questions and getting me excited?
Definitely.
Even after the first time, yes, but even after the second time more, hearing Zack Snyder talk about the Seven Samurai take, hearing, Chris Terrio being on board from day one, talking about like the bride of the kind of film, it sounds like Superman's going to get a little bit of a break for part of the
Well,
film.
and don't forget though, didn't it seem like the dirt on his coffin started moving?
Oh,
and
that was
rose up
clearly.
a little
bit.
No,
Yeah,
it let us all know that something's going on
Right.
there. And that was great. It wasn't like, oh, is Superman dead forever? No, nobody thinks that. But-
Every single person that walked out of the theater I was in thought that Superman was dead forever.
Well, that's great.
And again, this is a movie made for the fans. Thank God.
but
We
those
finally
people that
get
will be
it.
I'm
Come-
not saying I did. I'm
I
saying
know,
that
I know.
every
No, no.
person there.
People will get to come back. People have been asking me, who's this guy in the future? Who's that? It's creating conversations.
Yeah.
And then as these movies come out,
I
they're
completely
going to start
agree.
explaining more. This
Yes.
was
I
the
think
choice
it's awesome.
they made.
I think it's great that people walked out thinking, "Wow, Superman is dead." Now they're Googling, "Does this happen before?"
Right.
Like that's freaking perfect.
Let me
It's
ask you
raising
this.
questions,
Here's an
which is-
interesting question. Does it take the wind out of the sails from Civil War at all? I was interesting, right?
They
Because-
beat them to the punch
Right, that's
of
what I was
killing their
thinking.
main character.
Right.
Spoiler, if you don't know, someone's dying in that movie.
Okay, so
Someone
it'd
is,
be
and they
weird
did
if,
it
not,
first.
if Captain America dies, it'd be like, oh, we already saw that.
I will say this. They've set so much up with that, men will cry in that movie when
Yeah,
he dies.
I think
it
so.
will
Captain
be,
America?
I will
yeah.
cry.
I think that people will care more about
Oh,
that right
absolutely.
now. Yeah, I agree.
Listen,
Absolutely.
there's no-
But to the general public, they beat it first, and you
Yeah.
know how the public goes like, "Well,
Right.
so and so did it first.
Yeah.
Marvel's got a cinematic universe first. DC's
Yeah.
copying. Oh, DC killed their main character first. Marvel's copying. That will happen.
And just to say again, I just want to say, like, obviously Daredevil 2 came out this week, just to give a shout out. Another ideological superhero versus superhero. That series freaking
That's
crushes.
fantastic.
Hmm.
It can't. That's
It
fantastic.
and I cried a couple times during
Yes.
that too, but that's what you get when you get that much time to really dig in.
Okay.
This operatic. What about Lex's use of the term gods, the Christian
Okay, let's talk about
metaphors?
this.
All right,
What
like,
did
this
you
is
guys think? This is what I want to ask you guys, fans, listeners. When he said they've heard the bells, what was he? Is it like the villains, like the Suicide Squad? Because people say, and I heard this, they go, no, Suicide Squad takes place after this, and that's what Lex is referring to. Like people know that gods can be killed, so now
Does
everything's gonna
Suicide
come
Squad
out.
take place after
I
BVS?
thought it was before.
The rumors were that it takes place before BVS. Yes. Okay.
So, but people are saying, nah, it's after because they've seen that a god can die. Everyone's going to come out now. It's like, oh, these people that have been, this Superman has been over us. People have been scared to do stuff. Now that he can be killed, it's free. It's the candy store's open. We're
That's
going.
exactly how I took it. What is the
But-
other?
Or I took it as, God, I cannot think of what movie it is where we realize that we're not alone in the universe. Like, this is a call to all the other areas, like the apocalypse that,
Yeah.
Earth's open for the taking now. Okay, we're coming.
I think it'd be interesting if the climax of Suicide Squad happens concurrently with BVS.
That's
you know?
going to be, and we're going to know
You
soon.
know, like their mission is somewhere else while one of these huge world events are going on, that it takes place
I
on
don't
another
know.
level. Like, so, I mean, it did a great job setting up all
See,
this stuff.
the chat's saying dark side, the new gods. I'm
You
like,
would think. I mean, especially with the Orion symbol, that kind
It
of thing.
opens
yeah,
up that world.
what about Lex being all
A man-
wacky and snotty, screaming for
Basically,
dogs?
I love that
I love
part.
that.
I
Come on,
loved
but Batman
it.
showing up there is like,
Come
that
on.
scene.
There were a couple of things that reminded me of The Dark Knight, right? Like that reminded you
Yeah,
of The
yeah.
Dark Knight with
The
him
lights
showing
off,
up.
lights on.
And also the falling down, even the well, the imagery of like that. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, but you know, it's in the common vernacular. It's just like at
I
this point.
love Bruce and Diane at the end. I
love that.
and I hope that Justice League is the two of them together traveling. I want to
Yeah.
see them in a Wayne Corp jet, It's
Yes.
Bruce and
That's how
Diana.
we're setting it up right
I want to see
wanna
them in an
see
invisible
that.
jet. I just want to see them sitting Indian style, playing cards in the middle of the sky, traveling. No, invisible jet.
And
You
I
guys
want the
know
sexual
that-
tension there, but I
Well,
want the
that's
fact
what I was
that-
going to ask you.
Oh,
You know,
the
I get really
sexual
girly
tension.
with this kind of stuff, but what do
What?
you think about the
want.
sexual tension there between Bruce
I
and
think there's
Diana?
going to be some sensuality between Bruce and Diana.
Okay,
By
what's
when?
it-
By
what's
when?
sensuality?
And you know-
JL1?
But JL1, absolutely.
Why did you
Look
at
at
me
look at
like-
right there, the picture. Just the sensuality.
He wants it.
He's intrigued by this
What
woman.
about
This is-
Amy Adams almost being topless in that bathtub? Did that seem jarring?
Maybe that's the
No?
sensuality we talked
whatever.
about. It
It was kind of sensuality.
But
But
I was
whatever.
I
You
was
guys
gonna
feel
feel
one way or
one
the
way.
other.
I was more concerned by him going in the pool, in the tub with all his clothes on.
Yeah,
One
because
of
you
my-
made that water filthy now. At
One
this
of
point.
my favorite scenes
Yeah.
in the comics, as Batman is in Themyscira with Wonder Woman, he's in the library. It's one of the times he's allowed on the island, and he's reading over this book on war, and he's like, I want to borrow this. It's just like that kind of thing
Yeah.
we could get. Like stuff like that.
Also,
I wanna...
let's throw out there was a great picture of, speaking of Amazonians, that was just
yes,
released.
Yes,
So this,
yes. Look at them.
it's clearly a
Two
posting
skin
shot.
my ass.
We got Hippolyta, we got Robin Wright, we got so Hippolyta is probably with the sword. That's
Hippolyta's with the cape and the sword to her
Connie.
right.
What
Connie
what-
Nielsen.
Connie Nielsen.
And then they said, a lot of people were saying, like, well, this is not diverse. Amazonians are supposed to be diverse. And the director right away tweeted, guys, this is her family.
Yeah.
That's her mother and her aunts.
We'll see all
That's
shades of
direct family.
Amazonians. Calm down. But what do you think of the design, the look? How do you feel?
I've never doubted the look of it. I think it's so
yeah,
cool.
it's just...
Oh, you like the look of it?
Oh my god, I think it looks so
How
cool.
about Robin Wright?
Yeah, I know.
Robin, just watch House of Cards.
Yeah.
Who's
I know.
phenomenal actress. But what a badass she looks right there.
It looks like rich. And
Amazonians have the finest thighs in all of the galaxy. I mean, I think that Amazonian women, like what we saw from Wonder Woman in BVS and this picture, I'm not...
And again,
the thigh
if you
meat.
had problems with this movie, if you didn't like it, Wonder Woman, it's gonna be it's 100 years before.
Yeah.
It's Suicide Squad. It's different.
Way
it's-
different.
They're in a good place. If people don't like this film, and I think that's why maybe where they're going
Yeah.
still, they're not changing. things.
Suicide
Like,
Squad is
guys,
going to,
we
I
got-
think, be a lot more of an
Okay.
audience pleaser from
This
the
is-
jump.
Let's talk about this from the future on. This is going to be tough because people are conditioned by Marvel to expect that every movie builds.
Right.
We're building a Justice League, but now we've got these offshoots. We've
Yes.
got prequel Wonder Woman. Who knows when Aquaman is going to happen and what time setting? Suicide Squad. The four of us, we've been following this for a year and a half. We
Yeah.
don't know, and it's coming out in 3 months, where it is time wise.
It's kind of great. Did you guys
So
get a
there-
Suicide
it's
Squad
gonna-
trailer before
No,
your
we did
showing?
not.
Nope.
I did.
Really?
I don't get. We got
I
Ninja
didn't.
Turtles and
I got
That's so
Turtles.
weird.
yeah, I
let-
got Ninja Turtles also.
I got like
Grove.
19.
Oh, yeah.
I went to AMC. I don't know about you.
We
guys.
went
I went to AMC too before the
Interesting.
IMAX. I got the
Missed out.
Suicide
What's the
Squad.
one with Sansa?
Sansa.
Yeah, from Game of
Apocalypse.
Thrones. Oh yeah, X-Men.
X-Men
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
So,
move
so I think WB's marketing. They're not going to change Sneider. They're going ahead with just. They need to do marketing to course correct people that are not happy, knowing that. Okay, Justice League is a continuation of this, but with Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad, different ball of wax.
Yes. Yeah.
Still same universe, which is smart for them.
Yeah.
Because if it was all linear, then they could be like, oh, we are really in trouble. And
No,
they could throw out a Batman Alfred solo movie, and they could put it 10 years before.
Well,
this
that's
movie.
another thing. So, like, DC All Access caught Ben Affleck basically commenting on
Yes.
Jeff Johns. Oh, yeah, Jeff Johns. He's kind of like the comic book man for everything. And every time I bring something up to him, I think he's just bullshitting me because he says he wrote everything. Oh, yeah, I'm working on something for DC with him. Oh, what? What the? Who?
Yep.
Yeah, so... And it's almost like, yeah, these are our little damage control-y kind of things. So I'm saying is like, yes, now's the time to drop that bean, right? I mean, like, just let it get out there now. But holy shit, that's happening. The guy that knows the DC universe as good as anyone, who's written some of the greatest modern stories,
said it
is
before the
teaming
show.
up.
You said, Marvel's got Feige, and that guy knows story as well as filmmaking.
That's why he's a unique talent. You can't replace
Right,
him with
and
anyone.
you can't go, we need this in the DC. But DC, if we do Snyder, who's visual, and you've got Jeff Johns,
Right.
who's a writer.
Yeah,
You know,
need to
you've
bring
got that-
It
that
seems like you
brain
need
trust.
to bring. Or you mean Affleck, or you said Snyder, or
Snyder, as far as just
Snyder.
League, but now you got Affleck coming in there for his
Right.
film because there's talk, and he's open. It's like, I want to direct, I'll direct.
It is a unique thing
I
in
would love
that
to see
Kevin
it.
Feige knows the material so well. He was a producer in Marvel for years before there
Yes.
was a Marvel Studios.
He was on the old Fox
He
films.
worked with Avi Arad. He worked on the Fox films. On the
He was
Sony
biding
films.
his time.
He's always
Smart
been doing
man.
it, and that's where he comes from. guess what, guys? Like, there are not a lot. That is not a dime a dozen job.
No.
He's a genius at what he does.
Because on the other hand, you got Avi Arad, who just wants to sell toys.
Yeah,
and you've got
ridiculous.
Venom
I think
movie coming
DC
out.
made a huge choice sticking to their guns. One thing you
Good for
cannot
them,
say
too.
about this film is that it does not ape the tone of the Marvel movies or the Fox films.
And we knew that.
They really chooses to see these characters as gods, as making it a modern mythology, as they say many times in the plot.
And as a person that's followed Marvel and DC for years, both companies say this. Marvel, that's us. That's us individuals living our daily lives, becoming super. The Justice League, these are the gods. They're our modern mythology storytelling.
Yeah,
so
Lex even drops that beat.
Yeah, it's two filmmaking different ways, and you can like both, you can not like both.
Yeah.
It's you know.
Well, overall, to close out, takeaway message. Adam, go.
Okay, overall, like I said, is it a perfect film? No. Did I think I was going to come in here and I really thought I was going to be the negative Nancy today, guys. I even thought today might have been the last episode of DC Movie News I ever did. I was prepared for that because, I don't want someone to sit here that's going to be a hater, but I also never want to come in here and feel like I have to say something that isn't what I feel and have to feel like I have to defend my opinion, or my right to have my opinion. I'll defend my opinion. I watched it the second time and I really, really flip-flopped on the movie as a whole. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to see it again probably this weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll tell
Sunday
me how
night
I
after
feel.
WinterCon.
But overall, super excited about the future of the DC universe. I think it's great that we opened with a controversial bomb. It's not a popcorn crowd pleaser for everyone. I think it's going to still make around 170 million this weekend.
It's predicting
Stealing
350
the number.
worldwide. That's phenomenal numbers.
I'm holding on to that 170 number. Last night it made 27 million. Last night being Thursday, which was 3 times what Man of Steel did on the Thursday. Of course, we're further down the line. So I think it's going to be good. The crowd that I saw was really liked it afterwards.
Yeah.
The crowd I saw Monday was more mixed. So it's going to be more divisive. I give it an 8 out of 10 kryptonite rings that eventually will rot your cancerous hand off.
Okay.
Roxy.
Okay. So I think that this movie was very, very good, that I enjoyed watching it. There were a couple of flaws that really bothered me, but overall, I enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to go see it again. I wonder how my feelings change about certain things. I'm open to that, and I love having this conversation with you guys. I respect anybody who says that they didn't enjoy this movie, and I get it. And I respect anybody who says they love this movie, and I get that as well. In general, I thought the performances were really strong. I thought it was very pretty. I thought it was polarizing. I thought that it was entertaining. I thought it was action-packed, and I'm going to give it a 7.5.
There we go, Mikey.
All right, I will say also what Roxy said, and talk to you guys online. What we're talking about, and me, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Critics got their opinion. Make your own. Go see this movie. I loved it. My first time saw it, I give it an 8 Fernie Bankers. Now, the second time I saw it, 8.5 Batarangs.
All right.
8.5 Batarangs.
But now we're on 2 different scales.
That was for the first one.
Yeah.
I'm going back. So my Batarangs are now there.
Eventually
I'll let
people
the fans decide. Okay. I gave them 2 options: a Fernie Banker.
They're saying
and
Jolly Ranchers right
What are the
now.
first
Jolly-
one? A Fernie Bank?
A Fernie Banker, my drink that I have there. A Fernie Banker.
Fernet
Blanca.
Blanca?
I don't even know how to say it, but that's what it is.
Okay.
But I love
Fernie
the film.
Banker.
I loved Affleck. My surprise, and thank God, was Wonder Woman. She killed it. I cannot wait to see more of her. I can't wait for a solo film. And I spoke against you guys, and you guys, we don't see eye to eye. The Martha stuff, I loved it. It spoke to me. I loved all that. I will say this, guys.
Bit on the nose, sir.
A bit on the nose, but
Bit on the
IMDb has a guy listing the CIA agent at the beginning of the film with Martha or with Lois in
Jimmy Olsen.
That is not Jimmy Olsen. It's a
See,
CIA agent.
people in chat are saying that Sneider confirmed it was
It's
Jimmy
not
Olsen, but it's
Jimmy
not. I don't
Olsen.
think it is either.
No, in Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a CIA
And
guy. I thought so too
IMDb
first.
has got him. And also, we'll say this: can we please stop feeding rumors like this? Dan Amboyer with "I'm Green Lantern."
Yeah.
Was he in the movie? No. Guys, I work at Universal. I could go onto the back lot, find a trailer, put my name and put H. Jordan, take a picture like this, hashtag Green Lantern, this and that.
And we would do it.
It would go everywhere. It would go viral. Don't listen to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could it be in a deleted scene as a pilot in one of those pilot planes as H. Jordan? Sure.
And to
But it's
piggy-
actors that are just kind of feeding the social media and just
piggyback.
taking off on it. It's just like,
Well, to piggyback on what you're saying is, make a decision for yourself. A lot of people in chat world today are saying, well, so-and-so says this about the movie, so-and-so says this.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? They're just people that have opinions just like you. Don't feed into the negativity. Just go see it for yourself. If you don't like it, then great. But if you do love it, don't be afraid to say it. Bottom line is, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 Marthas. And I'm very excited for Justice League.
Yeah.
And we're very excited to keep this show going. This is the most live viewers we've ever had in the show.
Oh, yeah.
So we encourage you, go out and see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it a second time so I could have like my senses out there to see even more things and really understand it and not see it at midnight when I'm actually a human
What was
being.
your rank, rostering again?
7.5.
All right.
Yeah.
So did I get the highest 8.5?
You gave it a little bit higher than me. I gave it an
Little
8. Kryptonite rings. So we have 5
8.5
months
Batarangs.
now until the next one, which is unbelievable. Yeah, I agree. What you guys are saying is Sneider confirms that it was Jimmy?
Really?
I don't know.
Really? Interesting. Wait.
Entertainment Weekly said, Zach, our engineer, is saying that Entertainment Weekly says that Snyder confirms it was Jimmy Olsen.
Well, there you go. Maybe
Interesting.
it was.
So in the guy that said...
I apologize then.
So Jimmy Olsen is dead?
I guess so. Yeah, he shot him.
Wow,
So then
very
why didn't
interesting.
Superman save Jimmy then? Like,
Superman is not Jimmy Olsen's pal in this version.
come on. That is a...
That
That
is
to me
very
I don't
bothersome.
like. Because
Yeah.
we're going to get Superman Metropolis. We're going to get...
Another time.
It just
Another
lost
time.
half a Fernet Bronco.
It might have lost a half on that one.
Another time. With that said, Adam Gertler, put yourself over.
Hey, you can find me at Adam Gertler. Check out the new season of Man vs. Child, currently airing Thursday nights on FYI. Watch spectacularly talented young chefs take on much older chefs, and you won't think they can win, but they can, and they do sometimes, and it's super cute. And also watch FX Movie Download with Sasha Pro Raver and myself. I heard we have our viewing of Avengers coming up soon. We just a bunch more movies that are coming out on Fridays. Watch them with us.
Here we go, Roxy.
Guys, I'm Roxy Striar. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar or over at Screen Junkies doing TV fights this coming week. Actually, we're not on Tuesday. We're on Wednesday at 2. I don't know if they're airing it then or the next day, but make sure you look for their tweets at Screen Junkies and they'll let you guys know.
All right.
Mikey.
Mikey.
Kalinowski. You guys can find me on Twitter at that. Also, check me out at the DC Movie News Character Corner. We're doing Rip Hunter today.
Oh, yeah.
Rip, a Time Master.
Hunter.
Guys, I'll be heading to WonderCon on Sunday all day, so if you're there, check me out. And thank you to the fans for you guys are speaking up. Screen Junkies, they're looking for movie fights for a person to defend this movie, and you guys shout out tons of stuff to them.
You
so
should be on it for sure.
Let it be Kalinowski.
you guys were fantastic. So I woke up to like my Twitter blowing up on that. So you guys are fantastic. I hope you love it. It's my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys. Make your own opinion.
There you go.
I support your nomination. For,
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to be in your corner too, if I could. If I could just be like your
I'll
water
go the
guy.
rounds.
I'll put on my Rocky robe.
Yeah.
You know, right behind it.
Well, definitely DC Movie News will be in your corner.
We are at DC Movies SK, Facebook.com/DC Movies SK. I'm at Jay Quasto. Let's see, headlining the Brea Improv Wednesday, April 27th in Southern California in Orange County. If you're around, please come out and see me. Otherwise, I think I'm going to
He's
miss
funny.
next week. I'm going to be in WrestleMania in Dallas all next weekend.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
I think I'm going to miss
WrestleMania.
next week because I fly out on Wednesday,
Buffer.
unfortunately. But with that said,
It's
J-Lo.
about Johnny now. Oh, it's about Johnny.
I was giving him the background with the music.
JLoComedy.com at Jay Quasto. With that said, thank you for joining us for this special episode. We didn't hit a lot of news because we had an entire film to talk about.
We
We'll get
filtered
back.
some of it in there.
We filtered a little bit in there. No TV time,
We got the
unfortunately.
biggest
but hey.
news bits in there. Batman, Jeff
did.
Johns.
The Picture.
We did.
Seven Samurai.
We'll hold off on TV time till next week, though, guys.
Who's got time for that?
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
I do.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.